Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, time for the What Are We Gonna Do Now crossover. It's brought to you by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha, everlowconcrete.com.
Everlevel.
We got nothing to do now.
That's not true.
Nothing.
Eberflus.
Nothing.
We have so much
Sports
to do.
has ended in Omaha as we know it.
No, that's not true.
Take your 5-week break, Just watch some MLB games.
You guys are getting breaks?
It'll be the Chunkies.
Oh, yeah.
Soon it'll be the Chunkies.
Who are the Chunkies?
The Chunkies is our yearly award show to the schedule, to Nebraska's schedule.
They're similar to the ESPYs.
Can you catch me up on said bit?
It's a black tie event.
Hey, should we do a fake pregame show for Game 3 that's about to start?
Oh my God, no. We should not.
There wasn't even a yes and there. There's just a nope. I don't want to do that at all.
That's good.
That would just be wild. A 10 a.m. national championship
You
game.
think there would have been like 10,000 people there?
Very, very
But I
limited
think all the
amount of
LSU
people.
fans that were going to stick around anyhow
There
would
was
have found their way back into the bowl.
I don't know, man. There was a lot of people dipping out of here last night.
a lot of LSU fans the 5 LSU fans that I talked to, each and every one of them said, I hope they win tonight so I can go home.
Yep. Home time.
Well, there were
Meaning they were going to stay if they lost.
some people from ESPN that I dined with last night. Thank you. That was a flex.
Good job, Gary.
They
Way to make connections, Gary.
So, I mean, they were looking at 2 weeks in a hotel. Like, now, granted, they're not paying for it. They're here working, but they're like, it's time to go home.
That's right.
And then I watched all the LSU fans last night learning how to ride scooters in downtown Omaha.
Oh, no.
I can't stand the scooters. I think we're not sponsored by scooters, are we? By any of those scooters?
The Scooters Company?
Yeah, the company that has
like
the scooters.
Lime or Bird or whatever.
Maybe we could be in the
sponsored
future.
by them? Because I want to make sure before I bash them here.
Don't bash them.
Well,
don't bash
They
them.
are the worst thing that
you don't
exists.
see them
Don't
around.
bash them.
You don't see them around the College World Series. When they first introduced those in Omaha, they had like a geo-fencing on them that they could not, like they would shut down if they got within like 2 blocks of the Chuck.
Do you remember, the Future Farmers of America? They would have.
Oh, they were with their blue jackets?
Yeah, they would have
don't come
their
to
little meeting over in Lincoln. Okay,
their little
all right.
meeting. It's called the state convention.
Yeah, they'd have their convention. All right, the Future Farmers of America. And let me tell you something right now. That was 4 days of hell. All right, it turned into Fast and the Furious, the farmers, because they were just whipping around everywhere around Lincoln, just almost knocking me over on all these scooters.
I
can't stand these scooters.
When stuff like that happens in Lincoln, like that convention or like the state basketball tournament, you want to, if you're not going to the game, you need to not be in downtown Lincoln at all, because what will happen? All hell will break loose.
All hell breaks loose.
There is not only the children walking up and down the middle of the street with their blue jackets on in the, whatever, but people are going the wrong way on the streets.
Yes,
they don't know
they
don't know what one ways are. And so they're like, I guess I could turn right here. It's a street. And they're all of a sudden there's a car coming at
and then
them. And there's a head-on collision on 14th and Q. And you're like, whoa, what's going on here?
After the Future Farmers of America, they had the audacity to be like, oh my God, these scooters, what a success. We've made so much money off them. So they added more scooters to Lincoln. And then I moved to Omaha and I didn't see them around here. And I was very happy.
Yeah, the scooters were a fad.
I've escaped the scooters.
They're all over
until
my neighborhood.
This week, everyone and their mother goes, yeah, I didn't want to make the walk. So I drove my scooter.
Yeah,
back
there's
to
little
the
pockets
apartment.
where they're used, but they're not. I don't think they're super prevalent.
They're
Maybe
not.
that'll be
So
exactly.
Charming Village, they're everywhere.
That'll be like what happens with the streetcar. Who's using that sucker? Nobody.
I'll use that sucker.
No, you won't. You could go like 8 blocks on
It
it.
ain't going
Well,
by
I
your
know,
house.
Exactly. I'll
It's
just
going
go
nowhere
from,
near where you live. or
No,
work.
I'll go to Blackstone. Doesn't it go to Blackstone?
Yeah, but where do you get on?
Isn't it on Dodge? Like I can get on 30th.
It's
and
not
Dodge.
on Dodge. It's on Farnham.
You
Oh,
gotta-
I'm screwed. There's no point. Yeah, no. I thought it was on Dodge. Guys, I don't know. I just moved here. I don't know my ass.
Why?
My elbow.
Why do you have a cold?
Because I guess this is a yearly tradition now. I just
Because you
get
know why?
sick at the
because
College
you
World Series.
allowed air conditioning to be turned on in your house. So you went from the
It
heat
is
of
so
the last
cold
2 days
in here right now. By the
to
way,
What are
your
you
air
Really?
conditioning.
You're blaming my home for this.
Yes.
we are not going to get this down to I'm right for not turning on my AC in 90-degree weather.
Never
for
turned
Gary
it
Sharp.
on.
The home.
I am not going to stand for this.
You're
you
talking
are
about
in the minority. You are crazy. You are a psycho. No one else can do what you can do.
You were talking about the home in which I spent little to no time at over the last 10 plus days.
Did you meet your daughter?
I was like,
night?
she can do all these new things now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she can clap.
She's walking and talking.
Yeah,
Hey,
Dad.
3 days you've been clapping.
Yeah, she's clapping. Yeah, it's
She's like Jackson Dart.
It's amazing. It's amazing what happens when you're not around for a little while. But no, this is a thing for me now. I just get sick at the College World Series.
I'm winding down on my sickness.
Yeah. So if we would have gone to today, I would have had to talk to my doctor friend, and we would have had to probably suit me up a little bit.
Would you have
Basically,
gotten a Z-Pack?
Hey,
it's basically the equivalent of like what are the cortisone shots that they give.
Yes.
It's like just zap me up, like prop me up for one more day.
Were they going to give you a Canadian aspirin?
Yeah, they gave me some. They gave me some stuff last year, and I.
Yeah, we do have a doctor connection that.
Yeah, he was great.
You were sick one day, and you got treated very quickly one time. Where I was very jealous.
Chris tried to get a root canal last year. Or whatever, his wisdom teeth removed.
Wait,
he's like, "Can we do this?" They're like, "Yeah, no problem. Open up." Yeah, he's like, "Open up."
The dentist came up.
Yes.
You want to do this now?
They're like, "We could get you. We could get you. Just lay down."
Did Josh tell you about the tiger lady that showed up?
The tiger lady. What's that?
So-
This was an all-time. This had to be an all-time.
So
16th
Josh
win
was
of
trying to
his
be
own
a
moment.
gatekeeper because
Josh, time out.
I was trying to be a timekeeper
There you
more
go.
than anything
Thank
else.
you. He wasn't trying to be a gatekeeper. He was trying to make sure that we hit our breaks
There was
on
10
our national broadcast.
There was 10 minutes left in the show. We had a 6-minute break we still had to take and an interview to do. And I had to do injury and traffic still. And a lady dressed as if she were a tiger.
Scantily clad.
And you said, "No, we're not doing
And
this."
Gary, of course, said,
Yeah.
"We have to talk to the tiger lady." We just didn't have time for it.
By the way, should we put up the picture of what Gary looked like on the stream yesterday?
Yes.
Here, hang
Yes.
on.
It was awesome.
If you're with us,
when I was like whitewashed.
He looked.
You look like Jeff Goldblum in powder.
so good.
So why?
You can
So
only so
everybody
good.
that sat and that chair was whitewashed.
Yes.
not as much as you. Not as much as you. I don't know what happened here, but this is
So so the lady was dressed as a tiger,
yeah.
Okay.
and
Wait,
she
wait,
wasn't
wait, wait,
wearing
wait, wait,
much
wait.
to begin with.
Time out. She wasn't like in a tiger costume. She had, a nice dress on.
She
that
thought she was a
tiger
tiger?
stripes.
And she
Yep.
had
And then-
she had the ears.
let me pull it up. I'm trying to pull up the audio because I think on the audio you could hear Odson desperately yelling.
We don't have time for the tiger. We don't have time for the tiger.
Oh yeah. Speaking of audio, we do have some audio. Josh, do we? Do we have that? Because there was some people. Who had some conspiracy theories about foul balls going into the booth yesterday, and we did pull the audio. It did happen in real life, and we could play it for you now if you guys are interested. Here it is. If we could shut off our mics so Gary can hear it. Here is when a foul ball went directly into the radio booth yesterday at the College World Series.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled back right to us and into the booth. It came into the booth, and Andy Garcia's got it. Scott Graham, it went right by you, and we finally got a foul ball into the booth at the College World Series.
It did not go right by me, Kevin.
I mean, it close by you.
No, it hit my pinky as I tried to protect my laptop.
So that noise that you hear in the background was Andy Garcia, who showed the foul ball out the window and got a huge ovation from the crowd below. Yeah, I got it.
All right.
Well done.
I have the
Now,
clip.
are we going to mark the spot where the ball hit permanently in that booth?
I believe the first contact was made with Scott Graham's pinky finger. So
He's going to have to leave it behind.
and then it kind of rolled around in the booth for a little while before Andy picked it up.
That is quite remarkable.
And before that, there was 2 separate foul balls. One hit in the panel below, and then the other one was like one booth over.
Big year for foul balls
And
in the
the Murray
broadcast.
State
Murray
guys,
State guy
Murray
got
State
it,
guy's
too.
got a foul ball.
Yeah.
Would we like to hear the clip here?
Tiger lady.
The tiger lady?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think you probably couldn't hear it, but
Go
we'll
Tigers.
if you got to plug in your headphones here, but
Hold on. Dude, all right. Where's that one? All right, here. Okay. Hey. Okay. Wait, wait. All right. One quick question for the Tiger. Yeah. You are dressed as a tiger. Yeah. Why? LSU. All right. All right.
Oh,
Is this a normal
LSU.
outfit that you wear to games? All right.
I graduated from LSU, and I'm an LSU alumni. This is an average game day outfit. And
Cool.
go Tigers, we're going to win the whole thing.
All right. Thank you. We got Harrison here, Patch Cats. Harrison. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Get out of here, Tiger.
You don't have time for the Tiger
I had
lady.
to try. I had to try.
So good.
That's
You
just
were
Josh doing his
exasperated.
job.
That was the best. I feel bad because Gary talks to everyone that walks by, and that's by far the best person who walked by all day. And it was the one time we didn't have time for it.
Gary goes in front of 4 pretty drunk men, goes, "Ayo!" And then they were like,
Oh, no.
Suck that!"
No.
And they screamed it, and we had to turn around and hold our microphones on so it wouldn't come through the national radio broadcast.
Well, to be fair, you guys weren't on national radio.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Sirius XM.
No, you weren't on Sirius XM either.
Those pregame shows were on 1620.
just on 1620.
Pretty
the
good
zone.
local station.
Oh, I got. Wait, do I have to take that off my resume?
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't do anything for Sirius
okay.
XM.
Oh, okay.
Did you already update that sucker?
It's okay. Everybody lies on their resume.
I was planning on was on national broadcast for College World Series 2025.
I don't think you were,
I swear to God, I was. I literally told Josh that at one point.
but you weren't.
Oh, I wasn't. I wasn't.
you were
I
not.
wasn't. But I was prepared. I was prepared to do it.
Prepared?
Sorry, I turned to Glorilla.
Tiger lady.
I turned into Glorilla there for a second.
Prepared.
So
I said that gorgeous natural.
I mean,
turf.
I wanted to be like we had a discussion with some people in Teal, but I thought, yeah,
it's questionable. Questionable.
and literally, like they were belligerently drunk and right in front of our. We could probably find it, but it's okay. It was
they had
going
fun.
from doing those shows with Josh to doing those shows with Gary was quite the contrast.
We talked sports.
Yeah, we
Sammy
did.
Sosa returning to Wrigley.
That
That
was
was Matt. He asked that question.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you didn't like you were like scoffing at my transitions. I had a couple really good transitions into there, and you were just you just wanted to talk to people.
There were 2 twin 15-year-old
oh
boys
my God,
who were mammoth.
they were 6'5", 270 pounds.
Yes, and they're in the class of 2028.
They're trying to get some Tucci bats.
No, they're
No.
going to play football at LSU.
Oh, football.
They are gigantic, but it looked like they had a handler
Oh, they had a handler.
that was trying to work a deal.
No, like
these
Baby
two-
Gronk.
Yeah, but I think these two were legit.
So Gary was trying to recruit these guys, and
To GBR?
And
Yes.
yeah, and he was like, what do you think about, 45 minutes down the road, every Saturday, 85,000 people down there. They both blank stared. We're looking at Gary.
You want to play
And
in the Big Ten?
Yeah, that's what Gary said.
I go 530 days. It's
Yeah.
been since the SEC's won a national championship in football. Big
Good point.
Ten.
Well, the handler came up and they're like, he literally pointed at them. He was like, yeah, we're trying to make some money. Is when he was.
The kids
Hey,
had
we got that.
size 15 shoes.
Yeah,
Nice.
they were big boys.
The next Cags.
So Gary was trying to get into the Big Ten. They had no issue, or they had no want to do it. But then they said they were from Mississippi. And then I asked them, I go, do you have Lane Kiffin's phone number? And they both were like, yes.
And
So
did
Lane
they
started
give it
talking
to you?
him. No, they didn't give me Lane's phone
No.
number.
Yeah.
Did your contacts list grow over the last 10
No,
days?
just Rich Hill.
just Rich Hill.
Literally.
Just, I forgot
No.
about the Rich Hill
No.
night.
Everybody else, I brought up the whole like
You
cool
held
little-
him captive.
I did not.
In a room.
I did not hold him captive.
Could he leave on his own free will?
Yes, he could.
Poor Rich Hill.
You are the one who gave him the pat.
We're about to say it.
Poor Rich Hill. We bring him to the game and it gets
What do you
rained
mean?
out, and then he has to spend an hour and a half talking to
What
Matt.
do you mean, poor Rich Hill? Rich Hill had a great time, and we're gonna go golfing together. He doesn't know that, but we're gonna go.
Rich Hill
Amazing.
texted me and said,
Well, Marty Cordero is trying to get me to go to a Storm Chasers game, so when I go with Marty, I'll just be like, "Hey, Rich, I'll be in town."
You are in town.
You are in town. You live
No,
here.
but I'll be at his ballpark.
You live here.
I do currently live.
But I do appreciate, and this involves all of us, the people that come and visit us that wonder if we come from out of town.
Yeah.
Like they're like,
it's like, what do you guys do all year?
Yeah. Well, this is our radio station.
So what do you do when you're not here?
I wanted to
kind of a little bit.
I wanted to make friends with Danny Graves, who was also another retired MLB reliever who was just standing around at the College World Series, but I didn't find a great opportunity to do that.
What about Todd Graves?
No, didn't find a good opportunity there either.
No Chicken Man.
No.
Hey, do you know that he bought the front row
Yes.
of the seats behind the Coastal Carolina dugout
That's
yesterday?
the Raising Cane's guy?
Yep.
Yeah. He's got some money.
Really? Had no clue.
Yeah, bought a lot of Jello shots. Lot of Jello shots.
Yes, he bought a lot of LSU. He took care of LSU fans that were in town.
Yes, they were taken care of. They were very well taken care of. Oh yes. But it's over now, and now we have to talk about other things.
Tell the story from last night. Yeah,
That's why Chris is here.
Tell the story from last night. Okay,
Yeah.
so last night.
Does this involve both of you?
Yeah, it involves Chris. So at dinner at a local steakhouse last night.
Where'd you go?
Went to Jericho's.
Oh, so okay.
Great.
Thanks for the invite this year.
Great.
Yeah,
We went
thanks,
last
man.
year. It took a
Appreciate
rain
it.
delay
choice.
last
Yeah.
year for us to go there.
Went to Jericho's.
Thanks, Chris.
This was this is everybody who was doing the finals. And
Matt, just real quick, Matt, this happens every year. You will not get invited.
I know.
Deal with it.
I know. Hey,
but still say that you're on Sirius.
Never.
XM.
Hey, Odson, never tell me the odds. All right.
And we're finishing up the dinner, and
Can I ask one question?
sure, of course.
Did our man over here order cheesecake?
No, there was no desserts to be had last night.
Whoa!
No,
You're a dessert guy.
no. So we're at dinner and we're enjoying our time and our company, and we're wrapping things up. And there was a couple LSU people in the place, and one of them kind of haphazardly wandered over, and he said, "I just wanted to say, congratulations, you guys did great. You played so hard." And I was like, "Hang on."
He thinks you
He
are.
thought we were all Coastal Carolina fans.
Did he think you were Kevin Schnall?
He did not think
You
I
had
was
the red
Kevin
beard.
I was
Schnall.
about to say.
He did not think I was Kevin Schnall, I don't think, but he just wanted to make it very clear that he was appreciative of Coastal Carolina. There was a couple people at the table wearing green shirts for some reason, and we were like, "Thank you,
Yeah, there you go.
thank you, I very much appreciate it." Yeah, if our boys couldn't have won it, we're glad that yours did.
I'm glad you guys then leaned into it.
Yeah. It was a split second decision making that was led by Kevin Kugler, who was really at the front of the table there, and he was like, "You know what, we're just gonna go with this," and we all just did, and
we're so happy you won.
yeah,
You don't have to play today.
yeah, and he had a lot of things to say. He was very appreciative of Coastal Carolina. He was probably he had a long day.
Good for him.
He had a
Good
long-
for him.
He did not care to ask us who we are or what we did with the team, at which point we would have probably told him we are not involved at all with Coastal Carolina, really. But then he just, thank you.
How
see you
long was
later.
he at the table for?
Probably 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh my!
It was a-
Whoa! Whoa!
yeah.
He wasn't getting the hint.
And all of us were just looking at each other like, is this
Yeah.
really?
Is this
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, he kept going, and he didn't ask anything about us. So we were just like, yes, absolutely.
He didn't offer to pick up the tab or.
But at one point, there was a thing that worked for both us, the people at the table, and Coastal Carolina fans. And he was like, we'll see you next year. I hope you guys make it back next year. I was like, yeah, I hope we make it back next year too. And hope we.
That wasn't a lie. You do hope to make it back to the College World Series next year. Connor.
Exactly. There was a lot of stuff that was being said that wasn't lie. We kept it short. But at no point he second guessed the fact that we were involved with Coastal Carolina's baseball.
No
team.
one was wearing a Chanticleers anything. It was
No.
just happened to be
There
the
was
colors.
various shades of green and blue at the table, and he just was like, "Green, Coastal Carolina," even though they're teal.
Yeah, it's a different color.
Kevin was kind of wearing a teal shirt. That was about it. And he just assumed.
I wish he would have confused you for Kevin Schnall.
I
And
don't
you
think
should-
it should have been thrown out there.
I
I
thought
really
it was
don't. That was
Bush
a
League.
terrible call.
Do you think he would have gone with the? I don't think you should have been thrown out, because the LSU fans are like, no, you have to respect the. They're
Yes.
doing that whole thing.
Balls and
with it.
strikes. Balls and strikes.
Yeah, you can't argue it. It's in the rule book. I don't know. Maybe maybe
That's classic.
yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time. And that was that was it. And then I got home to watch the second half of Game 7 after Tyrese Halliburton had already died. And
he didn't die. He just tore
he kind of died.
I mean, kind of did.
He's alive. He's well. His heart's beating.
He's well.
Well, he's alive.
John Bishop, he wasn't doing the finals. He was dead.
No, he was not dead.
He died.
Putting conspiracy theories out there that the ball did not come into
Yeah, he's trying to spread the word that the ball did not come into the booth, even though there's very clear audio of it.
But like the odds that 2 baseballs came into those 2 booths this season,
Yeah,
that's
Chris, didn't you say it didn't happen before in the 18 years you've done it?
never has come in.
We got 2 of them.
now at Rosenblatt it happened more regularly. Yeah,
Rosenblatt, you had
the windows were wide, big
you
windows.
also had the wall that
Yeah,
had marks.
Because if it's coming into our booth, it's coming in hot, and it came in pretty hot. Poor Scott Graham, his finger.
What happened to the baseball?
I wonder how his golf game is. I mean, they're out there in Indian Creek right now. They're probably listening to the show.
Kugler has the ball.
Yeah, Kugler has the baseball.
Are we going to put up for auction?
We need to
Kugler
encase
has the
it. We need to encase it somewhere, and then just say this landed in the booth.
How did you not get the LSU fan to pick up the tab?
It was already paid by the time.
Yeah, that would have been a great ask. We should have done that. It's like, well,
You want to pick it up?
We've been through a lot of trouble here, and it's been a long 10 days. Do you mind just,
Swiping that thing.
just a couple $100?
Nicely done. LSU fans are so nice.
Oh, they're fantastic.
It was at the end of the dinner he did it.
They're fantastic. Yeah, it was toward the end.
Like you're definitely sitting there being like, I want to go home, and they're just being held up by this guy.
We were wrapping up. We were wrapping up. It wasn't like we were itching to get out of there yet, but we were wrapping up. I was like, excellent job, well done. Your boys played so hard. I'm like, I know. Thank you. They really
did.
They really did.
Hey, we're talking about Kevin Durant on the day after the Game 7. Cool.
We were light though, so we didn't set an attendance record. We didn't have a Thursday baseball. We don't have today baseball. What do you think? We'd probably be in the top of the second right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Somebody probably would have got tossed by now, and what would Angel Campos be doing today?
On first
Would he
base.
have been,
Umpiring left field.
Yeah.
He would have been in the rotation.
What if they would have put him at third base today?
There was a controversial play, like an overslide or something like that. By the way, we get this from Jesse.
Hi, Jesse.
Jesse writes in the text line. There was a big, giant, fat guy wearing all LSU gear yelling at everyone to get out of his way at Costco in La Vista yesterday.
Hell yeah.
That tracks.
I got to get back to the ballpark.
This is after the game, or probably.
Did you see the Tiger Man? Did you take a picture with the Tiger Man?
I did not take a
The
picture with
the
any
very sweaty
tigers.
Tiger Man.
No, I saw him. He got
The man
interviewed
had a
by
tail.
many. He got interviewed by many.
He had a tail.
Not everybody needs to be
also-
interviewed.
He also had a
Great take.
That is, you know what?
had
That's true.
Did you like that?
he had a stench to him too. I mean, oof.
Yes,
Stinky
not
tiger, man.
that is
Stinky
a great
tiger.
lesson for next year. Not everyone needs to be interviewed.
That's right.
And we need to tell that to Austin Jacobson.
Yeah. Austin did incredible. Sorry.
Just great work with Baby Gronk.
Excellent. See, Baby Gronk said he likes the way Dylan Raiola moves.
That's probably the thing I like least about Dylan.
I know. It's like, that's a bad scout.
That's a terrible
I
scout.
don't like your eye for the game.
Yeah. I think I move him down a star for IQ.
Yeah.
Did
But
Baby Gronk claim that he got an offer from Nebraska? Did he say that?
I don't know. I don't pay attention.
Or
to
is he
what's
just in
going on.
talks to get an offer?
Everyone at the camp gets a photo with Matt
Yes.
Rhule.
No, I think that was a special photo, Josh. I think Matt Rhule called out
Well-
Baby Gronk in particular.
I won't show this because he's underage.
He didn't get a picture with the big cow, did he?
No. Did you see though the pinstripe bull rings?
What? We got pinstripe bull rings? That's not good.
So after our discussion about
Who's that
Gronk,
baby?
that's a listener friend.
Oh, yeah.
His son went to the
Uh-huh.
same camp,
Yeah.
and every kid gets his picture taken with Rhule.
Excellent.
He goes, so Baby Gronk is not special.
No.
Um,
Baby Gronk had to wait in line like everybody else.
Now Gary might have made a good point here that I think everybody gets.
Oh, hold on. You did not know this? So
I didn't hear about the pinstripe
Nebraska
bull
has
rings.
pinstripe bowl rings.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But I think that is part of the bowl.
Yeah.
If you win, they make rings for you, because we were looking this morning and you go back like the last 6 or 7 years, the winner has had a pinstripe bowl ring. But did you show them the side or the top?
I showed them both. If you want to grab the phone here.
That is like a gaudy ring.
It is massive.
I just send them a medallion or
But
something.
it hasn't been shared on the internet, I think, because you don't want the pushback.
You do not.
Yeah.
Remember when Minnesota made like the Big Ten West co-champion rings and they just got absolutely wrecked online? Nebraska won the Pinstripe Bowl and they made rings for it.
Can you imagine being at like a Nebraska football alumni dinner and everybody showing off their hardware?
Oh, what's that ring?
What's the limit?
What's that ring that is the biggest one here?
So
that's a
doesn't say
7-6
pinstripe
season.
until the side.
What's the
So
lowest?
the top of it looks like, is that a championship ring?
It looks like what you would make a Nebraska national championship
It
ring
looks
out
like
to be.
the last Nebraska volleyball championship.
So what's the lowest thing that you could win to get a ring for?
The Pinstripe Bowl.
That's it. That's the bottom of the
I
totem
mean,
pole.
I think so I was telling Gary that there was a kid who went to my high school who played football at Washington State, and he wasn't even dressing, and they won the Alamo Bowl, and he got a ring. Okay, so it's just, I think whenever you win a bowl, you just might happen to get a ring. Like, didn't you say the Pop-Tart Bowl ring?
So Iowa State did a Pop-Tart
Sure.
Bowl ring.
Sure.
But I think the Pinstripe Bowl might do rings for the winners. Because
they help them out.
It is it's interesting and not surprising that they didn't decide to show off that they got the rings. And it's a very gaudy, very big ring. It looks like a bunk cake.
Got some really big rings.
a
Nice.
bunt cake?
Yeah, it's just like a big old
I love
chunk.
bunt cakes.
Yeah.
It's a big, like bunk cakes are big.
Does that place still exist?
The nothing bunt cake?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
How quickly you
They were
said
in
that.
business for many years before I realized they were a national chain.
Every party I'm
Oh.
at, they have the nothing bunt cakes cupcakes.
Yeah.
Those suckers are awesome.
What?
I love a good
See,
bunk
I'm
cake.
actually
So
surprised
good.
that lasted, because I thought the Tom and Chi, the
Oh, I remember that
the
restaurant.
grilled cheese.
yeah, the grilled
Yeah.
cheese place would survive.
It was in Lincoln. It would have been in Lincoln when you were there, right? Tom and Chi,
No.
right next to LeBron Pizza.
Oh, Nick's Blaze Pizza.
Yeah,
No, it was not there. It was
Uh,
not there. LeBron Pizza. is
that's what I
we
call it.
Yes.
LeBron owns it.
I never went to that Blaze Pizza once. I went to that
The
Chipotle.
pizza's okay.
I
I'm
went to
surprised
that.
Blaze Pizza's never made it to Omaha.
Yeah, me too.
I knew the manager of that Chipotle my sophomore and junior year, and so I would get free Chipotle like all the time.
Whoa.
It was
You could have
incredible.
gotten grilled cheese, tomato soup,
I had-
Tom and Chi.
I don't think Tom and Chi was ever around when I was there.
Wow. So it died before you even got there.
What time?
Interesting.
Because I got there. Well, also too, you have to remember. My first year was 2020, and we didn't really go outside in 2020. Like there wasn't a lot of like activities. There wasn't activities for you to do or things to do. Like we were all just kind of like locked down. Like our routine was wake up, do our online homework, drink, go to bed,
Wow. What a time. What a time.
rinse, repeat.
By the way, I'm being sent a photo from the of the 2012 West Virginia Pinstripe Bowl.
Yeah,
ring.
there's a Wake Forest pinstripe
Minnesota
bowl.
has one.
I think
but apparently West Virginia did not win the Pinstripe Bowl in
Oh.
2012. They were beaten 38-14. And they still got rings.
Participant.
Okay, so I think you're right about the whole
I think the
Bowl giving
Pinstripe
them-
Bowl gives
yeah,
them out.
yeah,
They have
yeah.
to give them out.
Yeah.
They have to. I would have loved, though, to have lived in the world where Nebraska decided to make them and pay for them. Because that would have been funny.
Bernie writes in on Twitter. He said they're giving out rings for 8U baseball tournaments, and you're asking what the lowest thing that you can win and get a ring is. There's no bottom.
When I graduated high school, you could make your graduating class ring like a championship ring.
Whoa.
Like Joskins is like the company.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
They really cornered the market on that stuff.
Yeah. No, they've really taken advantage of people wanting to think that they're champions.
Yearbooks, caps, and gowns.
Yep.
Yeah. You bet. Justin's got you covered.
Is this an ad?
Yeah.
No.
Shout out to Justin's.
They've got everything.
No.
Like class rings are them.
Mm-hmm.
I
know. Yeah. That's what I was saying.
We were supposed to have a 10-year reunion, but it was COVID. So now we're going to have a 15-year reunion this year. And
There was
some people.
There's one kid walking around, and he had his class ring, and I go, "Did you win Super Bowl 50?" Like, what? It was gaudy. It was massive. I didn't. Did you get a high school class ring?
I did not.
Gary?
No.
Josh O?
No.
I barely went to graduation.
We barely had a graduation.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, that's what I miss about this year is that we don't have the Texas A&M fans around that would show their ring.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're a graduate of Texas A&M, you get the ring.
And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. They love it. I know Texas A&M grad. Yeah, he wears it all.
They are Texas A&M. They're just different over there.
It's a cult.
Puppet eggs.
Definitely not a cult.
Puppet eggs.
All right. Well,
Pass it back, eggs.
here we are.
Woo!
Now-
We don't know what to do now.
Go
Now we
get them Aggies.
We go to the rest of the summer and
Gig 'em.
into the abyss we go.
Did you interview Dylan yesterday? Because he wanted to be interviewed.
Well, I know he wanted to be interviewed.
Dylan wanted to be interviewed. You know,
What a shocker.
I talked to Dylan briefly toward the beginning of the College World Series, and that was it.
On the microphone or personally?
Off the microphone.
Wow.
I had
It was like at 3 different days.
I had a question to ask him.
What did you ask him?
Well, I asked him how he knew Ivar Kett. And
Oh,
he-
yes.
At which point he said that they were cousins, which I believe is not true.
I will give. He's a lot more comfortable in front of the microphone, but he wants to be. Like yesterday was a day where they were asking people if they wanted to talk to Dylan.
Yeah. Oh,
Did
Dylan,
anyone say yes?
There's a couple.
Okay.
Dylan wanted to be on the big screen.
I was hoping people would say yes. That'd be,
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But I would think that like who he was, like Harper Murray would be the one that people would be more like, oh.
Yeah. It's
And she was there yesterday.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, because Dylan's everywhere. Because everybody's seen him everywhere.
But isn't Harper Murray everywhere?
Not
in
to
some places.
Not to the degree.
Was she?
though.
Did she take a picture with the cow?
Is that the
She
burning
did not.
question?
Did she-
How many people took a picture with the cow?
Yeah.
Do we need
It's called a steer, by the way.
The cow. That's what I'm calling it.
do we need a behind the scenes of how this all came to be?
Yeah.
How they got the steer in.
It doesn't have to be a 6-part docuseries, but I would like some questions answered.
Well,
Yeah.
do they win the recruitment at the end of the steer? Because if they don't, I don't think they'll release the video.
But I was asking Matt. So Rhule
Josh
was the
got
only
it.
one that could sit on the steer.
Not
Like
the
it-
only one who can. He's
Like
the
they didn't
only
have any
one.
recruits.
Well, because he probably signed the paperwork for the cow.
Yeah.
He was like, "We need a cow in here," and it's like when you have a rental car. It's like you're the only person who could drive it.
I
To
can
be
only-
fair,
I'm the
nobody
only one
else-
who could drive it.
Nobody else is 25 in that room, so he would be the only one who could operate that thing. The insurance on steers, I hear, are crazy.
By the way, Venmo Chris writes in.
I Venmo Chris.
I got a ring for bowling a 300.
Hell
Yeah, I know that's true.
That's what I'm
I
talking
think
about.
Don't you get a ring and then you get the pin?
I don't know.
I think that's more deserving than the pinstripe bowl.
What do you think that
Which
guy
is
who
better?
bowled a 300 on
Oh,
9/11 got?
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah.
Hey, poll question.
That's a
What-
great guy.
Poll question. What's better, bowling a 300 or winning the pinstripe bowl?
Yeah, put that out there. I love that.
That'll be a good start to a Monday.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll bring up some good discourse.
just see where the votes go on it. That's all.
All right.
All right. You guys have a great day.
We could be playing right now.
We could be. Just think about what could be.
You keep bringing that up like I feel like you
Well,
want
it's
to
just
be playing.
wild to me that they were talking about playing it either at 10 or 11 this morning.
They would have had to.
Like it was going to be a deal.
You guys would have been walking into the baseball village about 5:30, looking at all the carnage around.
No, we would have done the show from here.
I don't know, man. I think we would have sent you to the village. You can watch the sun rise over the bluffs,
No, thank you.
over the Luss Hills. Look, there it is. Ah, it's in my eye. I turned white again.
It was not me.
He looks like Mr. Negative from the Spider-Man films.
I don't know why that spot gets whitewashed. I think
You
it's
look
because of
like
the sun.
Spot from Into the Spider-Verse. That's
Fix the
what you look
camera.
like.
All right.
Part of it is the camera. Yes.
Hey,
Part of
are
it
you
is you don't tan. I've never seen anyone out in the sun more than you and not come back with a tan.
How am I not tan?
You don't look tan. You look the same. You were out in the sun for a collective of like 40 hours over the last 10 days, and you don't look any tanner. I've never seen anything like it.
You look great, Gary.
Well, I'm not saying he looks bad. He just doesn't look more tan.
Well, maybe that's good for my skin.
Yes,
Maybe you should use some sunscreen.
I look tan. I got my tan.
I don't
going.
think that's. You look the same. All right. Okay.
Okay. Now
See you guys later.
Come
now
on.
We're pulling the shirt up.
Come on.
That's the crossover.
Look at my pythons.
Powered by Everlevel Concrete.
Look at these
Repair
suckers.
in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Get him a Z-Pack.
Good read.
It's Monday. We'll start things off next.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you. Here we are, back in our humble abode. It's nice.
I like it here.
It's good to be here, Josh. It's great to see you face to face.
Through monitors, but yeah.
Just through the little slot here. I could see what's going on.
I sat there for the crossover Friday, and it was like I was in a private studio. Like I couldn't see anyone or anything.
I know, Josh. It felt so bad. I was like, oh no. But you did it. And
that part was fine. It was the sitting where you're sitting for the crossover.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I can't see anyone or anything.
Well, the College World Series is over.
Mm-hmm.
The finals are over. It's all over. I don't know what we do now. We look ahead. We start talking about football. We start debating on what you do if you win championships. Do you get a ring for it? Or if you don't win a championship, or if you win just a game, a regular game, do you get a ring for it?
Now, we never did the dramatic reading of Tommy Boy.
No, we didn't, because I was never at the Omaha Baseball Village.
That's right. So, I mean, that is still on the table for this summer.
Okay. All right. We could still have that in there. And then we have many topics, of course, that we have to discuss throughout the remainder of the summer here. But welcome in. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you did over the last 10 days, as we said when we came back and did the show on Thursday, it's a labor of love. We love bringing it to you guys. We love showing off Omaha. We like talking about Omaha, and we like meeting people who are dressed as tigers. Apparently,
many chose to do that.
Many chose to do that. Today, coming up on the show, we'll talk to Mike Schaefer of Husker 247 coming up at 11:30. Sam McKewon at 1. That is the lineup, powered by the Brewferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We'd love to hear from you all. 402-951-1620 on the hotline. You can call or text that number. It's the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline, which, by the way, I should add, if you go to our website at 1620thezone.com, each week we'll be giving out a $100 gift card to Sky Bar and Grill at Prairie Flower Casino.
Hello.
Each week. So if you don't win this week, you could still win next week, and then the next week, and then the next week. So many weeks, so many opportunities for you to win stuff. And in this case, $100 to the Sky Bar and Grill at Prairie Flower Casino. Tweeted Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor or Josh Show at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. I apologize in advance for my raspiness. We have hit the College World Series cold. Do you remember? Back in the day when you used to hit the final stretch of recruiting in like December and January, Mike Riley would always show up to his press conference in February, like February 12th or whatever it was, and he would be sick. He would be horrendously sick, probably because he hadn't slept in several days and weeks leading up to that. I think that's basically what's happening here. So we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it together. But I need you guys to prop me up.
We got you.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Today, we'll ask about the cow. Is the cow cool? People are telling me that this is not a cow. It's a bull.
A bull, steer. Are those synonyms?
It's
We're a bunch
cow.
of city slickers.
It's
Bear
a cow.
with us.
Yeah, people jumping on top of cows. We'll talk about the College World Series final and big Angel Campos overreaction. Yes, we'll have that today. Game 7 had some moments, including but not limited to an Achilles tear and some cool TJ McConnell minutes. That was fun last night, where I thought TJ McConnell was going to be the person who single-handedly won the Indiana Pacers a title. It didn't happen that way. As the Oklahoma City Thunder,
they would have had to name him MVP.
Congratulations to Grant Gibbs.
Yes.
Grant Gibbs. Honk, honk, Josh. Go ahead. I don't care.
Honk, honk.
I don't care who knows it. Congratulations
Honk,
to Grant
honk.
Gibbs.
Honk, honk.
He will have a ring and he will have deserved it for winning a championship as an
He
assistant
did that.
coach on the Oklahoma City Thunder. We're going to talk about Holgo today.
The Oko?
Yeah, what's Holgo up to? So Mitch Sherman wrote a great story in The Athletic. He went down and talked to Holgo for a little while. The next month for Dana Holgerson is going to be, remember when they put the graphic up at the Pinstripe Bowl of like all the places that he went after he got fired?
Oh, I do.
It's basically going to be like that. So Dana Holgerson this week is in Key West.
Nice.
And hanging out with Hal Mummy and people who are disciples of the air raid, basically. So like, you know, we're talking about Cliff Kingsbury and possibly Lincoln Riley and Eli's places, not Peyton's places. Eli's places is going down to record all of this as they retrace the footsteps of one Mike Leach. They just used to go down there and hang out and, you know, party or do whatever in Key West. That's what Dana Holgerson is doing, and before he goes off overseas for a couple weeks. I'm excited to talk about this, Josh.
Overseas?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got some stuff going on. He's got some business to tend to overseas.
Okay.
No more children hawkers at the games, at the Husker games.
Oh no. Is this the thing we're going to pretend to get outraged over?
People have opinions about this, Josh.
Really?
People have opinions.
Imagine having an opinion on this issue.
It's hard for me to tell, I will say. It's hard for me to tell what is like today's news and what is 4 days ago's news at this point. But
it's all the same.
Yeah, so we'll dive into it all. By the way, John emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox and gives a good rundown of what a cow. So a cow is a female. A bull is a male who has not been castrated, and a steer has been castrated.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they're always selling the bull stuff.
Yep.
For profit.
At which point it becomes a steer. Once that process happens, Josh. All right. We had to make sure we get that straight today. All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you for being here. Feel free to send in whatever. Ask questions, have thoughts, topics, things that we could talk about.
Topic alert?
Yeah, well, kind of. We're letting. I mean, we got some stuff that we got to get into, and then we're going to talk to Schaefer and Sam, of course, as well. So we'll have a regular old Monday show. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Angel Campos today? Either way, we're going to do that. Welcome to a Monday edition of the Connor Happer Show. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. From the text line at the 402.
Hi, 402.
Connor, I keep listening to you and clearing my throat with an and I'm not even sick. I'm sorry.
Sympathy clearing of the throat.
Yeah, basically you're trying to, voodoo doll me into clearing my throat. It'll come and go. It'll come and go throughout the show. Thanks for bearing with me. Thank you. From the 760.
Hi, 760.
So we asked, this is California.
Okay.
California way.
That's right.
We asked earlier about some topics that people could send our way. From the 760. Talk about anything other than the College World Series.
Whoa.
Texter says it's over. And the only thing you have talked about for 2 weeks.
Well, Game 7 of the NBA Finals is over, so we can't talk about that.
Anything else sports related, preferably football, college, or NFL. What's going on in football these days? It is June 23rd, after all. I heard the Pac-12's the Pac-12 is back, or they're doing something with CBS.
They have like 6 teams now, and that's enough for CBS to go, you know what? We want to be in the Pac-12 business.
Once again, if you have news, if you have something that you want to get out there today, just use it over the next couple weeks. People will talk about it and talk about it and talk about it.
The Jaguars signed Travis Hunter.
Did you hear that the new NCAA or the EA Sports video game is going to have the balloons on it?
Oh,
even though we don't even do the balloons anymore.
That's right. They added a ton of mascots and released that news today.
And one of the things is the Nebraska balloons. After a touchdown, Nebraska fans release balloons into the sky, creating a cherished visual celebration. But what they did not write in their game notes is only sometimes, only for big games, right?
Yeah.
I think that was the new thing as of last year. So yeah, but you'll at least be able to see it happen on a video game. Venmo Chris writes in.
Hi, Venmo Chris.
He says, is this Thunder team the least likable first-time champ? I mean, they're all goofy as hell, floppers, and play a terrible style to watch. It's weird how it sort of went for them. Because, I appreciate the story. I appreciate the way that they built their team. I don't mind their players. They're not they don't anger me in any sort of way, right? But as the series went on and it became more and more realistic that the Pacers actually had a chance to win the thing, everyone was just like, all right, if we're doing this, we need this to happen. I mean, so much so last night, I think everyone who's not an Oklahoma City Thunder fan was just sitting there like, come on, can we please just find a way, whether it be the Thunder choking or the Pacers making this crazy run in the fourth quarter or something like that. Can we find a way to just make this competitive, make this fun for everybody to watch? It was a good series. It was a fun series.
It was.
I don't mind Oklahoma City winning. I don't think they're unlikable really in any way. But
turned into a watchable product there.
You know what's funny? We watch the Chit Chat shows right now, and all they're talking about is Kevin Durant going to the Rockets. I'm like, what the hell? Kevin Durant's 37 years old. And he's played for 9 teams. Since when is Kevin Durant changing teams? Ever since he changed teams the first time, actually moved the needle for anybody. That was like 10 years ago now. Anyway.
We read a tweet from Worldwide Wob yesterday on the show. That Game 7 of the NBA Finals tonight and the entire day pregame show is going to be spent discussing a blockbuster trade. Pull this bleep during the Super Bowl and Roger Goodell would exile you like Napoleon.
Yeah. But this is the way the NBA kind of likes it. They're like, well, let's talk about the stuff that didn't happen on the court. Or I shouldn't say this is the way the NBA likes it, because the NBA doesn't prefer it to be this way. But NBA fans do. NBA fans are here for the drama. They're like, what does this mean? And let's play fantasy world with this stuff. And so, yes, we're talking about 37-year-old Kevin Durant being a guy on the Houston Rockets now. At least that's what they're talking about. I have no opinions on this, for the record. But I will say this about the finals. I think a lot of the reaction that we're seeing today is because of how it unfolded last night. Tyrese Haliburton, and a lot of people are now want to do the whole show about like, hey, do we really need to talk about why these Achilles are exploding all the time?
A lot of people losing their Achilles lately.
A lot of people popping those things to the point where we're all visually trained now. When we see this happen, it's like, oh, yep, that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Achilles. It's happening at a high rate in the NBA. But after that happened, all the air just sort of gets sucked out of the building, and all the kind of drama, goes away. Because as long as they have that guy who has hit big shot after big shot after big shot after big shot in the postseason, you don't feel like it's over. And who knows? He was pretty hot to start that game, but who knows what happens if he stays in, and if the screws get tightened up on Oklahoma City late and stuff like that because he's out there making plays. It turned into a game where the Pacers' only chance to win was to basically, I don't know, like describe what they were doing on offense. They were basically running down the court as fast as they possibly could, trying to slam into people and get quick twos. That was basically the rest of the game. It was not an appealing product to watch. It wasn't. And the Thunder, on the other hand, are really deserving of winning an NBA championship. They were the best team in the league all year long, and they were pushed to Game 7 twice in the playoffs.
Third most wins of any champion ever or something like
that. They got the MVP, but it was just kind of the way it happened, where it just sucked all the air out of the building. Even for if it was in Indiana, if it was in Indianapolis, it would have sucked the air out of the building even further. But I never got the sense it's like, oh, these Thunder fans, like, they want blood, That's a lot of what you feel when you go into these Game 7s. They're like, oh my God, their fans are rabid. And make no mistake about it, it was loud. But this has been part of the commentary all throughout the finals, Josh. It never really felt like the finals. And it never really felt, and last night, especially after Halliburton went down, it never really felt like Game 7 either, And I don't really know how to describe that other than just saying that. It never really felt like, oh my God, everything's on the line, legacies and stuff like that. We're also dealing with, maybe SGA, continues to rise to the point where we're talking about him as one of the top X amount of guys of all time in several years or something like that. But it doesn't carry with it the LeBron of it all, where whenever we talk about LeBron, it's about his legacy. And it's like, what happens to LeBron's legacy if he wins or loses in this Game 7? The hallmark point of his career was a chase down block in a Game 7 of an NBA Finals. That's the stuff that people remember. Is there a memorable moment at all?
Ooh.
Is there a memorable moment at all? Will you remember in now this is part of the way I operate, but like, I probably won't remember in about 6 months who was in this finals. Maybe even less than that. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad about that, but I think that's kind of the way it felt to me in the moment.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that.
I don't mean to poo-poo it. They won. Congratulations to all the Thunder fans.
SGA did win the 3 MVPs that one can win in a year.
Yeah. Really good player.
Pretty rare
But
feat.
once again, it doesn't feel like anything's on the line for him. He's the type of player where if you get MVPs and if you win 2 MVPs or 3 MVPs or whatever MVPs, that, it feels like it's extra on top of a really stellar start to his career. Like Jokic, we'll eventually start talking about Jokic's legacy and stuff like that. He's established. SGA, you might argue that he's obviously a really established and well liked and enjoyed player and one of the best, if not the best, in the league. But it's not like, if he doesn't win this, then we have problems. We're going to end up talking about this. No, that was not the case with him.
Today, if Indiana had won, we'd be talking about, okay, who are the most unlikely champions of all time?
Yep.
And somebody would have been, I told you in January, you can't trust the Thunder. And that would have been the end of it.
John emails in.
Hi, John.
On the Equitable Bank inbox. Okay, that's enough for this topic. Let's move on to important things like Coke or Pepsi for Nebraska athletics. I say Coke.
A debate as old as time.
Conversation's over. But they're locked into the deal with Pepsi.
They got that banner at PBA.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a big banner. And you can't give up Mountain Dew. Tough to give up Mountain Dew. Kenneth writes in.
What would the sports writers do?
He says, seeing some discourse about shortening the season to prevent these injuries. Halliburton, he writes, played only 73 games and Tatum played 72. How short of a season do we need to prevent this? No, we don't need to do any of that stuff. We don't need to do any of that stuff. They're already load managing enough. Right?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what the studies will show about how we ended up where we ended up with all these Achilles tears. Is it possible that it's random? It feels not random anymore. But I don't know. I would assume it has something to do with the athletic builds of these guys. We're talking about freakishly athletic, incredibly long people here. And maybe it's just that. Maybe it's not necessarily the wear and tear. But yes, I look forward to that debate raging and people offering their medical opinions and biology opinions over the next week or so, talking about why all these Achilles have been torn over the last couple of years.
3 Pacers players tore their Achilles this year.
Many Achilles were lost in the battle, Josh. Many Achilles were lost. All right, we'll be back. Yes, we're going to talk about what happened yesterday in the College World Series. Sorry, person from California. I apologize. But it was a big moment. It's a baseball moment. It's not necessarily just the College World Series. It's a baseball moment. When we return on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Mike Schaefer will join us at the bottom of the hour. We'll have Josh's Odd News. Sam will join us a little bit later on as well. Here in a Monday edition. Once again, apologies in advance for me being a little sounding weird today. That's all. Try to reset it at the beginning of every segment, and then by the end, it's trouble. This is going to be a long segment.
We'll just
longer.
I mean, this is the first time you've been indoors for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it out? Do you think it's the outside that made me sick?
Yeah, I do.
I think it's just the sleep.
Okay.
The lack of sleep and then kind of always being on the move. Long days. That's all. We'll get through it. We'll get through it together. Yesterday, in Game 2 of the Men's College World Series Championship Finals, let's set the scene a little bit because I think it all matters in this conversation. It was a incredibly hot day, and then LSU is on the brink of a championship, right? And so their crowd is locked in, and I always refer to crowds as being hot, right? So don't confuse the actual temperature hot with them being they were hot. As well yesterday. So I think to put this in proper context, and I was down in the field as this is all unfolding yesterday. I think you need to mention this. It was a pressure-packed situation. It was a highly tense environment. And you got one team who's on the verge of a championship and one team who's trying to keep their season alive with a win. After the top of the first, I watched some of the coaches from the LSU side and the Coastal Carolina side barking back and forth at each other. I don't know what it was about. I couldn't tell what it was about. I know that they were, top step of the dugout, Joe Jordan, their LSU's third base coach, kind of, turned around and after he came from the third base side and because Coastal Carolina was on the third base dugout. And so there were some words exchanged and, nothing. I didn't really think much of it, I guess, at the time. But once again, it just drives home the point that it's a pressure-packed, intense environment. Then, in the bottom of the first, there was a couple calls that Coastal Carolina coach Kevin Schnall was not very happy with.
Three
in particular, and he made that clear. At which point, plate umpire. Well, let me just read this to you from the NCAA. This is a statement from the NCAA yesterday. In the bottom of the first inning, Coastal Carolina head coach Kevin Schnall and first base coach Matt Schilling were ejected from the game for continued arguing about balls and strikes. Kevin Schnall went up to the top of the stair, and at which point he was shooed away, which Schnall had a problem with, and we'll talk about that in a second. And wasn't happy with that part either, and subsequently got run from the game, at which point he came out onto the field, and then kind of the fracas ensued. He was initially warned by the umpire crew. This is back to the NCAA. NCAA playing rule 3-6-F note 1 states that ball strikes, half swings, or decisions about hit-by-pitch situations are not to be argued. After a warning, any player or coach who continues to argue balls and strikes, half swings, or hit-by-pitch situations shall be ejected from the game. In addition to today's ejections, Coach Schnall is suspended for 2 games by the NCAA, for a rule which states an additional 2-game suspension is added to any other penalties. By rule, no team personnel may continue to argue or continue to excessively express themselves with prolonged actions or offensive language after an ejection. And another rule states that if an assistant coach, if ejected, is automatically suspended for a game. And an additional 2-game suspension is added to any other penalties. By rule, Coach Schilling, the first base coach, is suspended for 3 games. So Umpires came together. Coaches are coming together at once. At one point, one of the umpires tumbled over. There wasn't any contact there. And to be clear, and I'm not sure what Coach Schnall thought, but like that's not the reason that he is going to be suspended. Not because he bumped an umpire or anything like that. Because of the excessive arguing after being thrown out of the game. That's why he will have to serve a 2-game suspension, which would have been he would have been suspended for the championship game had they have won and the first game of next year.
You see it a lot in Major League Baseball where a manager gets tossed and he goes, "Okay, well, if you're going to toss me, I'm going to get my money's worth, and you're going to hear about it." They don't really let you do that.
Now, context. Once again, Angel Campos is the home plate umpire. He notoriously has a quick trigger on tossing guys out. He used to be a major league umpire when he notoriously had a quick trigger for tossing guys out of games. If I'm watching this all unfold and I'm thinking that is a very quick trigger to get guys to have a guy get tossed out of the game. And then you add into the fact that it was in the National Championship Series in a heated, tense environment and stuff like that. Like I thought it was quick for a Tuesday at noon. I thought it was quick for a midweek game. I definitely think it was way quick for that environment. So let's go to the video. Here is Kevin Schnall after the game, and Coastal Carolina had lost and the season was over at this point. He goes to the press conference and he has the following things to say.
There's 25,000 people there, and I vaguely hear a warning issued. As the head coach, I was an assistant for 24 years, and as an assistant, you're almost treated like a second level citizen, and you can't say a word. Now, as a head coach, I think it is your right to get an explanation of why we got warned. And I'm 48 years old. I shouldn't get shooed by another grown man. Right, so when I come out to ask what the warning is, a grown man shooed me. So at that point, I can now hear him say, it was a warning issued for arguing balls and strikes. And at that point, I said, because you missed 3. At that point, ejected. If that warrants an ejection, I'm the first one to stand here like a man and apologize. 2 words that define our program are own it. And what does that mean is you have to own everything that you do. Without blame, without defending yourself, without excuses. If you guys watch the video, there was a guy that came in extremely aggressively, tripped over Campos's foot, embarrassed in front of 25,000, immediately goes 2-game suspension and said, bumping the umpire. Immediately does that. There was no bump. He was embarrassed. I shouldn't be held accountable for a grown man's athleticism. They'll retract it, though, because now it's excessive. And the reason why it's excessive, because I was trying to say, I didn't bump him. It is what it is. But if that warranted an ejection, man, there'd be a lot of ejections. As an umpire, I feel like it's your job to manage the game. The national championship game with some poise, some calmness, and a little bit of tolerance.
What do we think of that?
At first, I didn't like it. And then he kept talking.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I like this guy.
So there's a lot of people getting after him today about the whole own it thing. It's like, come on, he's not owning it. I think that is, from what I saw, that is an accurate description of how things played out. And if you've watched baseball for any period of time, you could see that was far too quickly for him to be thrown out of that game. Especially, once again, far too quickly to be thrown out of that game for a Tuesday night game against against Virginia Commonwealth or something like that. Sorry, VCU, but much far too quickly to be thrown out in a national championship game where it's there's tensions that are boiling and stuff like that. Like, it would have behooved everybody to just sit there and say, let's take a deep breath. If I'm Angel Campos, the home plate umpire, I'm going to stand out in front of the plate. I'm going to write you your warning on my little notepad. And I'm going to say, hey, look, don't come out here anymore. Please don't come out here anymore. You guys are both warned, and this goes no further, and we diffuse the situation. And that did not happen. Now, partly because Coach Schnall came out, because he wanted to get an explanation on why he had just got thrown out of the game. And once again, I believe the reason that he'll be taking a suspension into next year is not because he was bumped. Now, I know that was the signal at the time, but like he said, that'll be reviewed by the tape, and it'll be reviewed to show that he didn't push over an umpire or anything like that. It'll be he was thrown out of the game, and then he continued to excessively argue, at which point you get another game added on top of that suspension. That's how I believe it to be interpreted anyway. But it was, now people are also wondering, what impact did it have on the game? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't really have any idea. I can't say that Schnall being there would have made any sort of difference in how that game would have played out. Anthony Ianson was really good. Maybe LSU was just better. I thought for a moment that it was going to give Coastal the boost that they kind of, were needing and wanting, but it was a tense kind of just a fracas of a situation down there, and it did not need that, because once you throw once you make the signal and you throw the guy out and you're throwing guys out, and much more so, it's on the team of the other side compared to the fans who have 20,000 people in the stadium and they're crazy and they're drunk and they're 100 degrees. Right? So it just turns into this thing where it loses control for a second. Everybody could have used the moment to just, let's let this fizzle here real quick. And then we would have gotten through it, I think, but it didn't happen that way. So I think that's my main takeaway from this thing. And those umpires have been around for a long time, and that was a long series for them too. But we have a bit of a track record with that particular home plate umpire. And I think I think when the umpires go back, and by the way, there will be a new head of umpires in college baseball next year.
Interesting.
Not any that was happening before. When they go back and they sort of sort through all this stuff, I think everyone, umpires, coaches, other fans will be able to see, I don't think that probably needed to happen in that situation. Once again, what difference does it make? I don't know. It's really hard to tell. But that was the story. So much like we were talking about with Game 7, Josh, where a thing happened and then the rest of the game happened. It kind of felt like that a little bit yesterday too. A thing happened and then the rest of the game happened. Yeah. And that was the drama of it. It's a shame that it didn't necessarily need to be that way, in my opinion.
My takeaways from this are different than yours.
Okay.
Never give a man who's 5'9" any power whatsoever.
What? Wow. What, Josh?
They will abuse it.
Josh.
What?
I'm 5'9", allegedly.
No, you're not.
I'm probably.
There's no way you're 5'9".
What do you think? I'm taller?
Yeah.
No, I'm like 5'9". I'm probably 5'9". What do you think you are?
I think I'm 6 foot.
Nobody's 6 foot. You're either shorter or you're taller.
Wow. Depends on my posture.
How dare you short shame? Angel Campos.
Whose middle name is Hernandez.
Is it really?
Angel Hernandez.
Yikes.
Campos.
Tough name.
Woof.
Yeah. That's your takeaway from this? They gave a short guy too much leash.
Yeah.
Wow. Kevin Schnall, he's not a tall guy. He's shorter than me.
He doesn't seem like he has a Napoleon complex.
Let me say this, and I said this yesterday on Twitter.
You seem pretty cool too.
I love that guy. I really like he would crack jokes to the media, but he says it with such a laser straight face that people are scared to laugh around him. I love that guy. He has been great to get to know over the last 10 days.
The Chanticleers thing.
Yeah, Chanticleers.
At first, I was like,
this guy really has a chip on his shoulder.
What a real Richard.
Yeah,
no. The more you hear him talk, the more you're like, oh, I get it.
He told this great story when they came through the car wash on Friday before the championship series, and I don't think we ever played the clip on the air. But when we were talking to him, it's kind of actually no, we didn't even have it on tape. It was just kind of away from the microphone, and he said they're talking about an MLB Network right now. Hey, he said, he's a really like laser focused, super intense, but it's from the perspective of in his program, everything means everything, right? Every detail is really important. So you get to asking players and you talk about like, hey, what are the details, actually like? They have fun, just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. They have the space helmet and all this different stuff going on in their dugout. But Schnall was like, we talk about being four tack guys. Well, what do you think four tack guys means?
For tack.
For
tack. I have no idea.
So when you put a piece of paper up on a cork board, how many tacks do you put it up with?
Okay.
You put it up with one tack just so it stays up there, or you put it up with four tacks. Like that's how much he cares about the little stuff. He goes, we want four tack guys. We don't need any one tack guys in our program. We need four tack guys.
Which the attention to detail of putting the QR code for their summer baseball camp in the dugout with nothing else on that cork board.
So he's just a laser. He's just a laser focused, intense guy, And I think they came in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because they had won 23 games in a row and nobody was talking about him.
Right.
That
makes perfect sense.
And so, I think he's a little bit misunderstood as far as how he sounds in a post-game press conference and stuff like that. You could hear it in his voice right there. If you're watching along with us on YouTube, you could see it. He's emotional, about the entire thing. He didn't want it to go that way.
No.
He's not trying to send a message or anything like that. But man, I hated to see the way that went yesterday. Once again, I don't think it makes a difference. Really, LSU probably like the same stuff just happens, and the game plays on, and LSU wins a championship, and we're talking about that more today. But this is the thing, and I mean, they're talking about an MLB Network right now. They're not talking about LSU. How they won 2 national championships in 3 years, and by the way, LSU is the class program of college baseball. They have asserted themselves. If there's a place where you should be, it's LSU because they won a title. And I mean, hell, they're going to have the number 1 pick in the draft, probably in Cade Anderson. And, they'll have a bunch of top guys that go. It's not like they weren't talented, but this is a team that doesn't have a lot of fanfare behind it. They found a way to win a national championship.
Beat the best team in the country 2 times within that College World Series tournament.
Yeah, so that would be the story today. This is the class program of college baseball, and there's no doubt about that, and nobody's taking that away from them. But the conversation shifts more toward umpires today, which is a shame.
Angel said, I got to get my name out there.
Bernie writes in,
welcome to the Ump Show.
That's right. As you said yesterday, Josh, it's the College World Series for Angel Campos, too.
That's right.
Bernie writes in.
Hi, Bernie.
It says Campos did this to Clemson at Tennessee in the Super Regional a couple of years ago.
Yep, 2023.
Yeah, so Cam Canarella, I believe he was tossed for, when guys come off the field and they get a little bit excited and they're trying to pump up the crowd or whatever. He was very
common in college baseball.
He was immediately ejected for the game for celebrating excessively. I don't know. It is funny too to watch these teams. There wasn't a lot of home runs hit this week. It's funny to watch these teams after what happened to the Super Regionals with Duke and AJ Gracia. It's funny to watch them, how careful they are of not putting the prop whatever prop they're going to put on the player that just hit the home run. They're like, they need like a get back coach. So Dean Mijos for Coastal, it's a home run yesterday. And the guy, because they have a space helmet that they slap on the guy who hits a home run. And he's like at the top step, but no further. Cannot go onto the field. I don't need people walking around like, I don't need people walking on eggshells.
No.
In these celebrations. I really don't. I understand there's a line, but I don't know. There could be, and especially in the case where Schnall gets ejected from the game, like there just could be a little bit more wiggle room in a highly intense situation like that. And there should have been anyway.
Royals connection for Angel Campos. Every article about this man that I read yesterday includes the story.
Who was it? It was like 2010 or 2011 or
11.
Something. Who?
Catcher.
John Buck? No.
Matt Trainer.
Matt Trainer. Nice.
Angel ejected Matt Trainer, and the two were not face to face. Matt was in the catcher's position and was saying some things and must have said the right things, or I guess not necessarily.
Yeah.
And Angel tossed him.
Sometimes you just get tossed. I guess that's the moral of the story here. Mm-hmm. Some days you win, some days you lose, some days you get tossed.
That's right.
All right. We'll be back. Mike Schaefer will join us next. We'll get his thoughts on, if he has any thoughts on college baseball, but probably not. More football. So the person from California could be very, very happy. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Come the Guardians.
Yeah, I have statistics to back up that we have people that listen.
Mike Schaefer.
Anytime there's sort of a debate as to who can do something, Happer would always put his name forth, for sure.
Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I could be a star.
And we are joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Mike Schaefer of Husker 247. Schaefer, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I realized as the finals finished last night, the U.S. Open was the previous weekend. The College World Series is now done. All that's really left is not college baseball, is Major League Baseball until the NFL and college football start up in August.
Yeah,
so,
there will be like a week where we debate about probably not a week, but there will be a discussion point about like the MLB All-Star game and how do we fix it or the uniforms or something like that.
Open.
Yeah, the British Open.
The only other, yep, that's it.
And then all of a sudden it's football time. Everybody will be off to the Mandalay Bay in Vegas for 4 days to burn alive in July for Big Ten Media Days.
Not me.
I don't think me either.
I'll be joining the army of pasty Midwest sports writers descending upon Las Vegas. I will not be part of it. I will not take part in such a thing.
But you love Vegas.
I do love Vegas. It's an expensive trip for the organization. There's really no reason for all three of us to be there, and I hate media days, so
nice.
That all kind of outweighs being there. Frankly, I mean, there's just not a lot that you get out of being there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brunson, BC have to fight over which one of them is going to represent us in Las Vegas. I don't know. I wonder what sort of competition they should have to determine.
Oh, like arm wrestling or something like that?
Yeah, like an arm wrestling. Should they have like a chip off?
Oh, yeah.
Should they have a punt, pass, and kick competition, and the winner of it gets to write to go to Las Vegas?
How about they go bowling?
Oh, I can't explain why, but doesn't it just seem like Bruns would be inexplicably good at bowling?
Yep, Bruns would definitely surprise everybody and rip off like a 225 or like what happened.
He's a good golfer who gets to go like once a year and then we'll go shoot an 80, and I'll look at him and just be like, okay, and never, I might have an 80 on like 16 holes, but never doing it on 18.
So,
I feel like he'd probably sneakily win a bowling competition.
Before we ask you about recruiting, because there's a lot going on at the moment, you have I think slowly become a fan of college baseball, but specifically the College World Series. What are your thoughts after we've wrapped things up now?
I've always liked the College World Series, though I did go through a period of time post Rosenblatt where I just sort of didn't care for it as much. And then now I feel like we're kind of in this golden era of College World Series, which is probably not true, but it just feels like the product of college baseball is really good right now, and the College World Series has been great each of the last handful of years. And so I don't know. It's been a lot of fun. Like, you have memorable moments. That Arkansas game, the Arkansas LSU game was just nuts.
Yeah.
Obviously, a couple years ago, Wake Forest and LSU, you had Florida State, Tennessee, you had the whole championship series last year. So I'm a little disappointed we didn't get a third game. I really felt like the championship series between Coastal Carolina and LSU, those were two really, really good teams. I think if that got played multiple different ways, it's not always LSU winning.
Agreed.
No, they obviously looked dominant in their two wins, I guess, if you would, though they won essentially by 3 runs total.
Well, it's nice when you have like the number one pick who takes a game for you and you're like, oh, okay,
sure.
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely. But even then they only managed 1 run in that game. Like that was a really enjoyable pitcher's duel. Just a another good College World Series. So I am sad to see that one go. And LSU is a very deserving champion. And they played great baseball pretty much the entirety of their time in Omaha.
And you get to do some amateur scouting for the Cleveland Guardians, or who they're going to pick in a couple weeks.
Yeah, they're. I think they are the last pick of the first round because the other teams after them don't have the rights to their first round pick because they went out and signed actual Major League Baseball players in free agency,
nice,
or whatever it is. And so Cleveland, I think, is like pick 28 or something. So I don't think anybody from the CWS that's projected to go in the first round would still probably be there at that point in time. They'll probably take someone who I will forget about for several years and then will emerge as a pinch hitting utility super infielder type player that they love to covet.
Yeah,
who will hit slap hits into the gap and drive the rest of the AL Central crazy while driving Cleveland fans crazy because he has like a less than 300 on base percentage and 2 homers all year.
Those are the type of players that they seem to accumulate at a very, very
a
high
lot
rate.
of them. You would think you'd want different types of players, but apparently they don't. They
No,
just
if
want
we could
more of
have,
the same.
just imagine a team with 9 Stephen Kwans. That team would win a lot of games.
It's almost like that type of player was Jose Ramirez before he turned himself into one of the best hitters in baseball. It's almost like the strategy is like, hey, what if we find another one of these guys? Let's just draft 30 of them every year, and maybe one will hit, and we'll get another 20-year run of this incredible, inexplicable player.
It's genius. It's genius when you really think about it. All right, Schaefer. First of all, can you comment on the cow in the weight room? What's going on with the
cow? Is it a bull?
I'm being told it's a bull or a steer. I couldn't tell. We have to figure out, what it
Look
looks.
at city folk.
Yeah, we're looking. We would have to know what it looks like underneath. And I don't know that I could decipher that from the images that I saw. So it's either a bull or a steer, but I like to call it a cow because I think it sounds funnier.
The whole thing kills me. I tweeted about this. Like, I just like to imagine recruits going on visits and then coming back, and they're talking about it with one another, and one guy's talking about the collection of sports cars that showed up at where
Miami.
Texas plays on their field, and all of that. And you have the Maserati and the Lamborghini and all of these things. And the next guy's like, yeah, I was at Nebraska. They brought a bull into the weight room. That Rhule sat on it.
It was awesome.
It really was. I mean, like, I find these photo shoots dumb because I am an old. But at the same time, if you're going to do something, just be different and own it. That is one of the things I do appreciate about Nebraska. Like, they are, under Matt Rhule, they're willing to do some stuff that to me seems nonsensical and stupid, but it obviously is targeted well at young players, young football players, or, it's an experience that they're just not likely to have. And so rather than be the 70th organization to rent a Maserati and have it driven to your stadium to take a picture with it, which, by the way, has anyone ever pointed out how stupid it is that cars are like this go-to status thing?
It's very
football
odd
when there's no car, Obviously, I understand there's no bull on a football field either, but it just makes for a better picture.
You get a picture with a car.
Particularly when the head coach is sitting there in his 1990s Nebraska script hat. So it all worked pretty well from the sound of things. I mean, it was another strong visit weekend. I think Nebraska has an opportunity to potentially pick up a few commitments from it as well. But it's been a weird recruiting cycle. So why not have a picture of Matt Rhule with a bull?
What maybe every program should do should bring out whatever car that most equals its program. Like, I don't know, if
Are we back to when you and I would ride around in used cars and determine which Nebraska player was that used car?
It's kind of like that. But now we're comparing programs, like which program is the Honda CRV, of college football. And then they should bring that out and all sit in the CRV. It's got
feels like an entire show for you. When you have people calling in.
Listen, it's got heated seats, it's got cooled seats in the summer, nice tinted windows, good sunroof, and you can get it at an affordable price, great gas mileage. There's nothing wrong with that. I would love to get a picture in a Honda CRV.
Yeah, I'm now trying to think of Tennessee like a Cybertruck because it could be cool one moment and then threaten to explode all over you the next?
That's great. Yes, perfect. They are the
fair?
Cybertruck of college
doing this
football.
right?
Yeah, I think you got it.
I think that's fair.
All right. And Nebraska they'd probably have a tractor, or, they could just stick with the cow or something like that.
Just
Okay.
the old reliable 1994 Ford Ranger or something.
It's really, it's got 300,000 miles on it. We've rolled it over like 3 times, but it still works. Schaefer, you just mentioned they have a chance to get a couple commitments here. There are some recruits, there are some targets that are set to announce their commitments today. I guess what are we looking out for over the coming days as far as Nebraska recruiting, especially in 2026, where they need to maybe pick it up a little bit?
Yeah, there's a couple guys with scheduled announcements for today. Danny Odom, cornerback out of originally from Pennsylvania, but he is at an academy prep school in Orlando. He went down there, not IMG Academy, but something very similar to kind of elevate his game and his recruitment. And it has really worked. I mean, this is a guy Nebraska got in on early. I mean, if you take a look at his official visit list, he finished with Nebraska this weekend. This is someone that's been to Clemson, Auburn, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Penn State, and Nebraska all in the month of June. So he's pretty well sought after defensive back, big, long, talented defender. The feeling was coming into the visit season that if he got to that Nebraska visit without committing somewhere else, the Huskers had a great chance of locking him up. They'd done a nice job recruiting him for a while. I think that's still the case, but I'm a little worried about Oklahoma. If there's a team out there to be concerned about, I think the Sooners did a really nice job in terms of recruiting him as well. So Danny Odom is at 4, and then at 5:30 is Jamal Rhule, one of the 3 running backs Nebraska has really kind of targeted in this 2026 class. Rhule visited last weekend for Nebraska. It was a great visit. I talked to him last week, and he has a really good relationship with EJ Barthel. He's been out to Nebraska several times. I think he feels like he's a priority from the Nebraska staff. We talked about how he feels like he's a good fit in the offense. I think he's someone that can provide a little bit of a power component that Nebraska's current roster lacks, maybe beyond Quentin Ives. And even then, we're not sure what Quentin Ives is exactly. So he's someone who's a little bit different than, Jamarian Parker or even a Connor Booth, who Nebraska picked up a year ago. And so I like there's a little bit of variance in the running back recruiting. The thing is, they sort of have to get him, because if they don't, they're not likely to get Brian Bonner. Then they would have missed on all 3 of their top 3 running back targets. So it's Nebraska's, I think, pushed pretty hard for Jamal Rhule, made him a priority, and that's why I think they're going to get him over the likes of Michigan State, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech.
You also had a note on Omaha North's Darian Jones. Does it seem like Nebraska has maybe fallen behind in this recruitment to a certain local rival?
I think Nebraska's been behind the whole time.
Okay.
But the thing is, when I was initially optimistic about it, it was largely putting a lot of stock in the idea that he would want to play with his brother Donovan at Nebraska. But I think I undersold to myself, or underestimated at the time, just how valuable or how important it might be for Darian to go to this school that he grew up rooting for. I mean, they're an Iowa family. And so, his visit at Iowa this past weekend was said to have gone really well. He has family over there. I just think it's going to be hard for Nebraska to make that back up. And here's the other thing. I mean, it's a defensive back looking at the Iowa Hawkeyes right now. Like, they have done a really nice job producing NFL talent, producing quality defenses. Like, it's a tough battle for Nebraska. And I've kind of turned against where I was before. Doesn't mean that they're out of it. It's a July 4th commitment. There's still time. But I just think it's a more uphill battle than I was allowing myself to think in April after Nebraska offered. And the more I just talk to people, the more I just think it's more likely than not that Iowa will win out on a July 4th commitment. But we'll see. There's still a little bit of time left.
Schaefer, a thank you to you. You were among the few who texted me after the no-hitter game, which was crazy. I had a one-word response, which was unreal. And you said you were very excited for me, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, pretty awesome. I know how much the opportunity to do play-by-play and live sports for you means to you. And so to be at a stage like the College World Series, to get to be on a call and then witness one of the greatest pitching performances ever in that context. That's pretty cool. You know, I personally would still choose you calling that insane Millard North Bellevue West basketball game, which is still, I have vivid memories of driving back from Omaha, everything going on in the world at that time, and listening to you call that game as like, and then not even getting out of my car. Like I didn't want to go inside and watch the last minute and a half of it on NETC. I just stayed in the car and continued to listen. So
oh man,
I enjoy your. I'm a fan of your work, so I was very happy.
I'm a fan of yours, Schaefer.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for joining as always, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
Mike Schaefer, Husker 247. Wow, that's the greatest. That's the greatest compliment a play-by-play guy could get.
I didn't get out of my car.
I stayed in my car to listen to the game. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was a different time. That was in like 2020, but he could have watched it on TV. They didn't. He decided to listen on the radio.
Mm-hmm. He was locked in.
You never know what you might hear on the radio, Josh. I saw Gage Wood. I called Gage Wood striking out a lot of people.
You did
over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
What was it? What you did the math? You like, hey, during my 3 innings, I called 3 hits.
It was 2 hits, but like during the 2 games in which I saw Gage Wood pitch against Creighton in the regional and then against Murray State.
That's right.
It was 32 strikeouts.
That's so many.
It's a lot of strikeouts, Josh. 32 strikeouts.
The Jays were 19 of them, right?
No, Murray State was 19 of them. The Jays were 13 of them.
Okay.
19 plus 13 is 32,
It
right?
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. 32 Gage Wood strikeouts. And only one of them was on a controversial hit by pitch. All right, we'll be back. The odd news is coming up on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a fabulous driver.
The Connor Happer Show
I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life.
on 1620 The Zone.
I hate you.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check for your wallet first, before hitting the drive-thru.
$6.
Sorry, forgot my wallet. I have change, though. Here's 40 cents, another 40. Ooh, a bicentennial.
What's that?
Oh, gosh.
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your radio home for the 8-time league champion Omaha Storm Chasers, a proud AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals since 1969. Tune in for every pitch of the 2025 Storm Chasers season at Warner Park and across the International League with the voice of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Nick Batters, on News Talk.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Yes, it is time for the odd news. Josh, I'm excited. What do we got today?
Well, when news breaks, that's when it breaks. It doesn't care where you're at, what you're doing at the time.
Well, usually it's when Michael Bruntz is a guest.
Well, that is true. Michael Bruntz, not a guest on 1620 The Zone yesterday when the announcement was made that Kevin Durant would be traded to the Houston Rockets.
Yep.
Kevin was on stage at Fanatics Fest trying to get into that white Super Bowl party that everyone wants to go to.
Wait. Hang on.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me? What's Fanatics Fest?
Fanatics Fest is Comic-Con for sports, basically.
Wow. That sounds horrible.
It does. It's put on by the guy who runs Fanatics. I looked up his name Friday. I've already forgotten it.
Okay.
Michael something or other.
All right.
He throws a Super Bowl party. It's like the most coveted social status thing in sports and entertainment.
Really?
So everybody's like...
Not very many people get invited?
Right. So everybody's like, yes, Michael, whatever, of Fanatics, I will go to your Comic-Con so that hopefully I get an invite to your Super Bowl party.
Michael Rubin?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Michael Rubin.
Mm-hmm.
So he throws a big party, and and Kevin Durant can't even get into it?
Well, he has to, whore himself out to Fanatics Fest last weekend in New York City. That is where on the stage there is where he learned he was being traded to the Houston Rockets.
Wow. He was on stage while this happened?
Yes.
Was there like a fan question or something like that? And they were like, Kevin, did you know that you just got traded? Shams just said it.
I believe he sort of started to chuckle. And everybody's like, what's so funny? And he's like, I've been traded.
That is pretty funny.
To Houston, a city where people like Houston. Houston has things that people enjoy. Women.
What? What do you mean? Every city has those.
But Kevin Durant asked about this like 12 years ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There's too much
for
everything.
There's too much Kevin Durant lore for me to sift through.
Good take.
Yeah.
You were busy yesterday. You didn't get a lot of the lore.
I didn't see any of the lore.
No. You did know Kevin Durant got traded, though.
I did know that.
Okay.
Because they've been talking about it on the television.
Oh, well, if it's on the television, it must be true.
Yeah.
We go to Three Forks for story number 2.
Three Forks what?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm sure there's many Three Forks.
I thought it would be in the story. It's not.
Three Forks, Montana?
Seems about right for this story. Mark Gilbert, 59 years young, walked into a bank and said, quote, "I'm declaring this a bank robbery."
Okay.
He then demanded the bank teller give him $1 singular dollar, and then he walked away, put the dollar bill on another countertop, and asked the teller to call the police and tell them that he was robbing the bank.
Oh, wow. This is basically the start of Prison Break.
Gilbert then
Does he have the blueprints to the jail tattooed on his back?
I don't know. Good question.
Spoiler alert.
He then sat on the steps in front of the bank until law enforcement arrived. A sheriff's deputy noted in charging documents that the teller was emotionally upset and in fear of injury. Gilbert is currently being held and expected to have a court appearance later this week.
Was he armed? Was there a gun?
It does not seem like it.
Okay.
It's not noted in the story.
So he just wanted to go to jail for a little bit.
It seems like it. Maybe that was a more stable set up for him. I have heard of people in dire straits going, you know what? If I was in jail, I wouldn't have to worry about paying for food or anything like that.
There are other crimes that you could do.
You could do that thing from Office Space where you steal like a tenth of a cent on every transaction.
Yeah, it might take a little while to get caught. Or I guess, you just call yourself in.
I guess probably need to have some computer skills for
Right.
that.
And this one is it's a pretty open and shut case, right? I robbed a bank. They gave me $1 and you should take me to jail because I'm a bank robber.
I mean, maybe if you're going to start with, I'm declaring this a bank robbery, you should maybe add on, hey, don't worry. I'm not going to hurt you. I just need $1. I just need to get arrested, basically. Everybody, go about your business. I just need to get arrested.
Yeah. At that point, though, they're probably like, you're not a threat to me. I'm not going to give you $1.
Okay.
We can't just give people dollars.
Sure, that's true. We don't give out free samples, even though everybody comes in and asks us, you giving out any free samples
I'm
today?
telling you, this is the start to Prison Break. I watch out. If he has a brother on death row that he needs to break out of prison, then we know this is just Prison Break.
So don't they
he tattoos the blueprints on his back.
I'm sorry, I don't know what prison's like. Don't they strip you down and delouse you or something?
Because
how did he get into the prison with this tattoo?
They didn't know. It doesn't become apparent that the tattoo is a blueprint of the jail until you look at it in a special way.
Okay.
So it looks like something else.
Oh, okay.
It just looks like a big tattoo
I
that
never
covers
watched
up
the show.
his entire back. But then when you look at it in a special way or whatever, I can't remember how he did it. Looked at it in the mirror or looked at it with whatever. Then it became apparent that it was the blueprints to the jail.
I've never seen the show, but I was an avid watcher of the series 24, so I do believe I've seen every preview of every episode for Prison Break.
Yeah. Yeah. You have. They tried to reboot it.
They did.
The main character. I won't say it. It's like a 15. He dies.
Oh!
He dies at the end, and they try to reboot it. He's alive again.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
For my next trick, we go to Iowa for our final story. We introduce you to Brianna Laird, the 21-year-old Iowan behind bars after police say they found her naked from the waist down, burning stolen American flags. Cops were dispatched around 4:30 one morning last week upon getting a report that a nude female was lighting American flags
Just
on
bottom
fire.
nude.
Yeah, just bottomless.
Bottom nude.
In a city that I'm going to guess is pronounced Busey, 60 miles away from Des Moines.
Oh, whoa.
You okay?
What? How's it spelled?
Bussey. Boy,
Busey.
I sure hope that's pronounced Busey.
It could be Bussy.
Hope not.
What's wrong with Bussy?
Hits the ear wrong.
Really?
When you're talking about a naked, bottomless woman.
What's wrong with your ear, Josh?
I don't like my ears.
It's just southeast of Des Moines. It's over by Oskaloosa. You been in that area?
Good context, probably. When officers located the suspect, she had an American flag tied around her head and was not wearing pants or underwear. After reportedly giving officers a fake name, Laird allegedly resisted arrest and kicked 2 cops.
Sure.
It was learned that the flags that were taken and damaged belonged to the city of Busey, an investigator reported.
It sounded like she wanted to go to jail, too.
Yeah. Laird, who lives in Knoxville, a city outside of Busey, is locked up on $4,000 bond. A host of charges, including arson, assault, indecent exposure, theft, possession of drug paraphernalia. Can you believe that?
It's very surprising.
And a criminal complaint filed today charged her with desecration of a flag.
Yeah. All this is shocking.
Mm-hmm.
All this is shocking stuff. Only in Iowa.
Only in Iowa.
Only in, what is it? Busey.
Busey. One or the other.
I still don't know what's wrong with you and the word Busey or Bussy.
I love Gary Busey.
You love Gary Busey?
Yeah.
Poll question. Do you love Gary Busey?
Utah, get me too.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know what he's been up to lately, but it can't be good.
I don't know.
He's alive.
Yeah.
He's alive. He's alive.
He's alive.
He's alive.
He's alive.
He's
Okay.
alive.
He's
Yeah.
80.
We knew that. He was definitely alive that whole time.
You can't kill Gary Busey.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. Sam McKewon will join us at 1 o'clock. We have more to come, including the cow. Let's talk about this cow. Or steer.
Livestock.
Livestock in the weight room. Can you believe it? After this on 1620 The Zone.
He does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Noon hour of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Johnson with you, back from the College World Series. Exactly. And I apologize for being a little bit sick, but we have a lot of things to talk about, including, if you're watching along with us on YouTube, this. What's going on with this picture? What's going on?
There's a lot to unpack here.
Let's talk about it, Josh.
Okay.
We're just going to keep this up for as long as we talk about this picture. If you're watching along with this on YouTube, you could see it. If you are listening to us on the radio, I will describe it to you now.
Oh, yeah.
There is a recruit. I don't know who this recruit is. We could have asked Schaefer. I don't know. There was many recruits. Many recruits who the recruits love to wear the all white uniforms, by the way. We've noticed this over the past. They also like to wear the all red uniforms.
Dayton wore the black.
I love the black uniforms too, but Nebraska loves to not do anything different with their uniforms.
That's right.
He is throwing up the black shirts sign. Cool. He's doing it the right way. He doesn't have the 3 and out bones. He's throwing the bones, Josh. This is what the kids do at their photo shoots.
Love throwing the bones.
They throw the bones. This was in Nebraska's cool new. I'm sorry. I have.
You're deteriorating.
I can't breathe really out of my nose.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Sorry. This is in Nebraska's beautiful new weight room with all of their lovely natural light that is coming.
Look, I can see a building behind.
That's the Cook Pavilion.
Yeah.
Right behind them. So it's great. And then next to this recruit, there is a man who is Matt Rhule.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him and what he's doing in a second.
Okay.
Sitting on top of a cow. It's a cow.
Cool.
Someone told me earlier, they said, I know why you like to call it a cow, because you like to throw shade at Nebraska football. It's because you're a hater.
What an incredible leap.
That's why you call it a cow. And I'd like that person to know that I only call it a cow because saying cow is funnier than saying bull or steer.
It's a funnier word for sure.
It is. It's a cow. Nebraska brought a cow into their weight room. Okay? That Rhule called up somebody and said, can you please bring a cow? And they said, of course, coach.
Of course.
But what will you wear when you get on the back of this cow? And Matt Rhule said,
I gotta be me.
I got something for you. So he threw on a shirt from 1996, and it has the N with the Huskers, Script Huskers logo across the chest. It's a very old shirt. Or it's a new shirt that it's supposed to look like an old shirt. And the Tom Osborne hat from the 90s with the red and the Nebraska script across the hat.
Sweet lid, bro.
It does not have a rope.
I mean, let's combine the old and the new and put a rope on that hat.
And he's wearing shorts. Now, I don't think a lot of people have ever worn shorts when they're riding a cow.
Oh.
I don't think a lot of people usually ride cows.
Cool.
But especially not with shorts, Josh. If he wanted to do the full deal, he would have worn boots and jeans. But he didn't. He wore shorts.
Should have called up John Cook and said, what do you got for me?
He looks like what the kids look like these days when they say that the stuff from the 90s looks cool and retro.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Matt Rhule looks like. Also throwing the bones on top of the cow. You've had a chance to take all this in, Josh. I'd like your thoughts.
I think the more I stare at it, the more I like it. But spoiler alert, Nebraska is not going to go through this season undefeated.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
This cow tells me otherwise.
I'm ready to rule. Nebraska will not go undefeated. Somebody, some team, some dweeb in the social media department is going to have something to say about this photo in a final score graphic. Nebraska fans, you need to come to terms with that. That's going to happen. It's okay. Like, I'm not mad at Matt Rhule for doing it, but you got to know this is coming. I don't know what the joke is. I haven't written it yet, but
it's coming.
Some dweeb in the social media department's thinking it.
Not in our social media. Not Nebraska's.
No, like the Illinois, the Penn State.
Definitely Illinois, for sure. Yeah. Venmo Chris writes in. He's got a couple things.
Hi, Venmo Chris.
Says, hello, Mr. Farmer, sir. I'd like one of your finest cows. For reasons.
I just love.
Hello, sir.
The mental image.
Please send cow. I only need it for a few hours. We just have to take some pictures. But like I said, the crossover, I think Matt Rhule's the only person who could get on top of the cow because he's probably the guy who rented it.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't want a bunch of people on top of it.
I assume they backed up a small trailer to the Osborne Legacy Complex and dropped off the cow. And, they probably stood there to make sure the cow didn't get out of control. And then they took a bunch of pictures and they loaded the cow back up onto the thing. It was probably a great day for the cow.
The bull looks old and sleepy.
The bull, it's a cow.
I got to throw that in every now and then, or people are going to like, oh, you idiot.
I know, but I still think it's funnier to call it a cow.
Oh, it's a funnier word.
Venmo
sure.
Chris also writes in, old man Ferentz could never. That's true. He wouldn't dare order a cow. Iowa would never allow him to order a cow. He'd be like,
too flashy.
Yeah, he'd be like, what are you doing with this cow? All right, so there you go. There's the picture. What's going on? And that is off the heels of this. What's going on? So we talked about Matt Rhule, and I actually think this is good because it runs parallel to it runs parallel to. By the way, Chris writes it. Poll question: do you wear shorts while riding a cow? He might be the first person to ever do it.
Now, do you want me to put cow in the poll question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a cow. Just like the ground didn't exist. It's a cow. All right. D'Lo writes in, man, the winds better be coming. Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna have problems. Otherwise, you're gonna have these cow pictures are gonna resurface very quickly.
Now, Platcat beat me to it. The question I had is the same question he had. What are the odds that cow dropped the deuce in that weight room?
I'd say pretty high.
Pretty high, right? Yeah.
That's what cows do.
Somebody had to clean that up.
Do cows have control over their bowels? Are they like birds in that way?
Interesting. Hadn't thought of that.
It seems like they do it involuntarily. I suppose when the whole world is your bathroom,
yeah,
you could just go whenever you'd like to. Birds don't have any control over that stuff. They just they're not trying to poop on you. They just poop. Literally.
They didn't target your windshield.
No, it just comes out. Cows, I'm not sure. And John emails in.
Hi, John.
I grew up on a farm. I was unaware that a bovine could be house trained. If it wasn't house trained, someone more than likely had a mess to clean up in the new weight room. There you go.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking about it.
A couple of years ago, it was probably a year or two ago, there was a guy on TikTok that I haven't seen since. I probably will now because they're listening. He had a domesticated cow, like a literal cow, not a bull or a steer or whatever. Like he had a literal like dairy cow, and his bit on TikTok was that he would try to sit down for lunch and he'd make himself a nice meal or something like that, and then the cow would come out and just start ravaging the meal in front of him. It was pretty funny. I really enjoyed those videos. I haven't seen any of them in a while. Bullet Point Bob writes in,
hi BPB.
That cow looks like a hairless cat with holes in it. I think this is not a good image for Nebraska football, sitting on what appears to be a diseased steer who has his horns clipped. That steer looks like the bovine survivor of a nuclear strike. Is this true? They got the oldest, most decrepit cow they can find?
Well, I mean, you can't be bringing your best and your brightest into that weight room. I mean,
it does look.
You need a bull without any fight in it. Right?
It does look a little sad. It does look a little sad, but it's cool. I think maybe the kids think it's cool.
Do it.
But like Schaefer said, Nebraska is unashamedly itself. All right.
I mean, yeah, I guess it is different than pulling up in a Maserati, but
serious thing. We're going to talk about this with Dana Holgerson a little bit later.
Okay.
Mitch wrote a great thing about Dana Holgerson. Where is Dana Holgerson? He is nowhere. He is in Key West. He is overseas. He is in, I believe, Austria is on the list of the places that he is going the next coming. Read Mitch's story. You'll find out all the places.
Where in the world is Holgo the Oko?
That song has negative connotations, Josh. No.
What?
You're singing the Carmen Sandiego song.
Yeah.
I thought you were singing Matt Lauer.
Oh.
Where in the world is Matt Lauer? All right, we don't talk about Matt Lauer anymore. We don't talk about Matt Lauer
He did many bad things.
Well, that was after the Where in the World is Matt Lauer, though.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, maybe it was before that, but we didn't find out till afterwards.
It was a Carmen San Diego reference. Nothing more.
I don't know why. Whenever someone starts singing that song, I think Matt Lauer. That's what they did on the Today Show with Matt Lauer.
That was also a Carmen San Diego reference.
I know it was, but I don't remember the game. I didn't really I didn't watch the movie or play the game or whatever it was. I just only watched the Matt Lauer segments on the Today Show. Where was he? I never knew.
Crack open a book, Connor.
I know. I'm sorry. I only watched the Today Show. Okay. So Holgo's everywhere. All right. AKA Holgo is nowhere. He is not showing up in pictures or anything like that. He is not entertaining recruits. Matt Rhule has taken it. He has taken a complete and full responsibility of being the person outside of his players. We're talking about coaching staff and people within the walls of the program or whatever. He is the person who shows up in the pictures. He is the face, the voice of the program. And I find it interesting because we've had this shift. And Rhule has sort of think about what they've done from a football perspective compared to when he got here, right? Rhule has always been a defensive, minded coach. He won't change that as far as the football is concerned, but he does not have Tony White anymore. He has John Butler, and I think more importantly, Phil Snow, who he is kind of given the keys to oversee the defense. It's John Butler's defense. Phil Snow oversees it. He could be Rhule's kind of go-between. He is the Rhule translator in this scenario. What has he done on the offensive side of the ball? It wasn't working through the first 2 years. The Marcus Satterfield thing did not work. Nebraska has a good quarterback, or at least they think is a good quarterback, and a pretty good set of wide receivers and all these things. I'm going to turn the offense over to Dana Holgorsen. He coaches football. Phil Snow coaches football. John Butler coaches football. What is there left for Matt Rhule to do? Obviously, manage the team on a game day and stuff like that. But he has really taken it upon himself to be the face and the voice and the general manager. I know they have a general manager, but ultimately he is the top voice and the top face in the program. And I think there's a reason why, we talked about this a little bit last week, but I think there's a reason why he's out there all the time, because he can. He is kind of put the trust in the coaches that he's brought in to manage the things that they have to manage, especially on the point where it's over the summer. And Rhule has kind of elevated himself to a true CEO role. And frankly, I think he's really good at it. I think it can get annoying at times. I don't need to see him everywhere, but ultimately it means good from him. All he's trying to do is promote the program. Anytime he can go out and cook burgers and say GBR, great. And people will cover it.
Yeah.
Anytime he can go out and sit on top of a cow in the weight room, not a cow, Josh. Is that what the call was about?
Oh, no, it was Matt Rhule has grabbed recruiting by the horns.
Oh, nice. Exactly. Well, I don't know if he's grabbed recruiting, but the recruiting still leaves a little bit to be desired at this point. But
2026?
Yeah.
We worried?
They're getting there. But he has taken it completely in the direction of I am the voice and the face of this program, and he is the CEO. And I just don't think we've ever had a setup like that before. I don't think it's really ever looked like that before. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's specifically tailored to this day and age in college football. And I think the most important part is, does the coach embrace it, and is the coach good at it? Let's think about this, Josh. They left a lot to be desired in the football categories over the last 2 years. They didn't have all the weapons. They didn't have a lot in terms of the weapons and whatever and all that stuff. And ultimately, once again, if they suck this year, it's still Rhule that has to pay for it, right? He's still in charge of it all. But I think the ability for him to kind of step out of that a little bit has been interesting to watch. I don't think it's a bad thing for this program. at all. And so they're trying a little bit of a different and new setup here. And I think, frankly, I think Rhule, a lot of coaches love to coach football. And I think Rhule loves coaching football. There's no doubt about it. But they talk about it with this reverence. It's like, man, I just wish I could go back to, I just want to be a high school position coach. You know, I just want to do the technique. I just want to do the fundamentals. And I just want to see the kids get better. Like, that's what I want to do. And I'm sure there is a slice of Rhule that really loves that still. But I think he really loves being the voice of I think he's having a great time right now. I think he loves going on McAfee's show and Jim Rum's show, whatever GD podcast he can find, showing up, riding the cow, and going to the College World Series 4 times in 5 days or whatever it was. You know, like, I think he loves that. And I think it kind of fits him too. He loves riding in the helicopter and taking videos of it and put them on his Instagram story and stuff like that. So I know we talked about this in sort of like a negative light last week, and I'm, you know, it could get, once again, overbearing and annoying, I think, at times. But I think the key part of this here is what it means, you know, in terms of what it means for Nebraska's like potential football success, is that the coach has put himself in. I think you could look at it through the prism of it being sort of selfless, right? He's removed himself from the stuff that where a lot of coaches when it's not going well, they'll like die, like Bo takes over special teams, you know, or whatever it might be. Like they'll really take reins, no pun intended, of the things that are falling short as a program. And what Rhule has decided to do, I think, is you know, kind of go the other way, kind of remove himself a little bit and say, all right, you guys got this, you know? Once again, not that it's not his responsibility. It still is completely his responsibility, and everything gets, you know, managed and at times micromanaged and all that stuff through Rhule. And I'm not saying that he's not involved with the football operation. He completely is still. But I just, you know, it's a different feel, certainly, than it was 2 years ago. That's all.
I don't think it takes that many wins for this picture to seem really cool.
Yeah.
Like, they win 8 or 9 games, that picture goes pretty hard. They only win 6? Yeah, what are you doing on top of that?
It's definitely context. The cow.
Yeah.
As you were about to finish that sentence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was the cow. Rob says, that's a rodeo bull. Their horns are clipped on purpose.
I guess I assumed that it wasn't clipped on accident.
It's a cow, okay? Get over it, guys. It's a cow. Happer's Meme Guy writes it.
Hi, Happer's Meme Guy.
Feel like the corporate America equivalent of a career 513 record winning percentage and a 12-13 record in 2 years in your current role wouldn't be getting anyone promoted to a CEO role. Yeah, but I mean, I think we can all admit, like, you know, some guys are better for something. Like, I kind of enjoy Matt Rhule in this position. What this will it work? I have no idea. But I sort of, I don't know. I don't mind him in this position.
I like the coordinators he has in the positions they are in.
That's the most important thing, ultimately. Yeah.
And if he's going to cede control to them and like actually do it, not like, hey, third quarter we're down by 2 or 3 touchdowns, and he's like, I'm taking over. Screw you guys.
Yep.
And he doesn't seem like he's going to do a sad press conference about how everything was taken away from him.
See, that was the direct opposite of what's happening right now. That was who said that at Frost last week? Garrett Nelson, right?
Yeah.
He was like, he's just so sad. I hate to see him like this. I'm like, that's not what you want. No, Rhule is happier than he's ever. And people, you know, if you look at it from a cynical view, people will be like, well, of course he's happy. He's making X amount of $1 million a year. And if he gets fired, he's still making X amount of $1 million a year. And he can do whatever he wants and all this stuff. Like, of course, I don't get the sense that he's like taking Nebraska for a ride or anything like that. He wants it to work. I mean, come on, guys. He wants it to work. It's not anything like that. I just, it takes I just think there's different types of people for different jobs, and whether those jobs are front facing or not so front facing or whatever. Rhule seems like he enjoys this job.
Now, we are your favorite sports show's favorite sports show, so I know there's some scribes probably listening to us. There's a good chance of it, at least.
Hello, scribes.
I need the backstory on this. Whose idea was it? How difficult was the shoot?
It's got to be Rhule's idea.
I need some details on how this came to be.
You're talking about for the cow, right?
Yeah, the bull, steer, cow,
The cow.
livestock,
The cow.
cattle.
Yep. My guess would be that it was his. Like, let's get a cow in here.
And they were like, "You idiot! It's not a cow."
And you know what? We're gonna get a cow in here, and I'm gonna sit on it.
And I'm gonna wear a sweet hat.
Yep. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Sam McKewon is going to join us at 1:00. We still have plenty to come on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. this is from our friends at KLIN in Lincoln, our sister station.
They're still standing after the towering inferno of last week?
I heard about the fire. I heard about the fire. I know no further information on that.
There was a leak. There was a keyboard.
Okay.
There was some smoke.
Yep. Usually smoke means fire, Josh.
Yeah.
There was a fire.
Everything was fine.
Everything's okay. Okay. Short story here from KLIN. A 59-year-old Bennett man, a man in Bennett, Nebraska, just outside of Lincoln, recently lost $600 after being scammed by someone impersonating country singer Luke Bryan.
Oh, no.
Lancaster County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Ben Houchin says the man received a text on June 17th, last Tuesday. Houchin said, quote, "This individual asked for the gentleman's savings account information, which he did give. The reason why he knows Luke Bryan is a country singer and is a good guy, so he did give the information out."
Oh, no.
Houchin says the victim thought he was going to receive $300, but when he checked his account, it was down to $2.42. Houchin says the man lost a total of $600 and pretty much wiped him out. Houchin says if anyone receives a text from Luke Bryan, it's a scam.
Oh, you think?
Yes. We do this as a public service to all you guys. If you get a text saying Luke Bryan really needs your savings account information, please don't give it to him.
Yeah, again, one of those things that we didn't think we'd have to say, and here we are saying them on the radio for you all.
I gotta be honest, I very rarely heard stories in which these are successful. I mean, I get a text from a number I don't know, it just gets almost immediately deleted.
Right.
Unless that person like clearly identifies themselves and like they would have a reason to actually text me or call me or something like that. There was a situation where I got a call on Friday from a number that I didn't recognize, but it didn't say like potential spam or anything like that. Is a number that I didn't recognize. And they needed some information. I was like, "Can I get some confirmation that you are the person that I need to be giving this information to?" And they were
you
like,
just straight up asked. Wow.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to need some confirmation that this is real. Like, they were like, "How about this and this and this and this?" And I said, "Okay, that's good enough for me. Here you go." Now, if that was a fake Luke Bryan, they would have said, "How dare you? I'm Luke Bryan.
I am Luke Bryan."
I'm Luke Bryan. So please don't give your phone number or don't give your banking account information to Luke Bryan or people pretending to be Luke Bryan.
Also, just a pro tip from your friends at the Connor Happer Show. Celebrities often have people do everything for them. Luke Bryan would never text you. It would be Luke Bryan's.
That's a good red flag.
Assistant.
Immediately.
Luke Bryan's...
Well, but then you don't want to give the scammers the idea of like, "Hey, we're going to text people and say that we're Luke Bryan's assistant."
Do you think the scammers are listening to the Connor Happer Show?
I don't know. People scam.
Oh, don't scam. How about that?
Don't scam is another good piece of advice, Josh.
Thank you.
Another good piece of advice. Don't scam, but more importantly, don't be scammed by the scammers. Okay. Now, here's a question from Chris. Which celebrity would you give your savings account information to?
Ooh, good question.
Like if like Freddie Freeman texted you and it was like, "Hey, this is Freddie Freeman. I need $1,000 to get to Omaha. I will pay you back plus 500
when I get there.
Or when this transaction goes through.
I'm bringing Chelsea, the kids.
Yes.
We're all coming.
Yes,
just our
and
our
I will
money's tied
give
up
you
right
an
now.
autograph. Wow. Or I would love to meet your child.
Wow, Freddie Freeman wants to meet my child.
Freddie Freeman said all that to you. Would you give it to
That's
him?
a pretty sweet deal you've offered me, Freddie Freeman. I might have to consider it.
Then you would think probably this is a little far-fetched.
I would certainly wait 12 hours to see if he texted me a second time. Hey,
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hey, you up?
I'd probably screenshot it and then
we got to do this.
Tweet it out or something like that. Don't give your number out to fake Freddie Freeman, Josh.
But if Chelsea needs me.
Also in local news in Lincoln, this is from KLKN. Story reads, just ripped away. Memorial Stadium tradition of kids selling concessions comes to an end. For years, young people have gone up and down the stands of Memorial Stadium selling food and drinks to Nebraska football fans, but now the concession hawker program is ending. Chris Hoffer, a Lincoln dad who participated in the hawker program as a teen, said, quote, I was really surprised to see it come out because there was no indication beforehand that this was a thought or a question. Hoffer sold concessions in the Sea of Red and an up-close view of the games. 30 years later, his teenage son and daughter were doing the same. But their time as hawkers has now ended. This is because the stadium's new vendor, Aramark, requires employees to be 18 years old and will not allow
because
people
of
who
child labor laws?
And will not allow employees who are not 18 years old to, they will not allow non-employees to serve at the game. They can't hire them. And then because they can't hire them, they will not be there. So I say people have been asking, does this mean the hawkers are gone entirely? No, it just means they'll be 18.
Yeah,
I know you like taking advantage of the 12-year-olds that sell the runs to you in the stands. Not anymore. These kids are smarter, they're faster, they're more athletic, and they'll chase you down if you try to steal their money.
Yeah, you could pay a 12-year-old, hey, we'll give you like...
Also, they don't even have money anymore. They just swipe cards now or scan cards.
If we give you 4 Diet Pepsis, will you sit in the hot sun and walk up and down these steps for 8 hours? Yeah, for 4 Diet Pepsis? Yeah. Turns out that's kind of illegal.
18-year-olds, you're going to have to pay them a couple dollars. Deja Hoffer, who is 13, said the program was a good way to learn responsibility. Quote, it gave me an opportunity to make money, and it was definitely a learning experience. That's what she said. She's 13.
I don't mean to sound cold and heartless, but...
Why are we quoting a 13-year-old girl in this? I don't know.
Definitely not the only way to earn money.
Are you suggesting that they do lemonade stands, Josh?
Mow my yard.
Mow Josh's yard.
My yard is in shambles.
Are you offering this to every single hawker? Child hawker.
You know what? Yeah.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
Really?
Prove to me you're a hawker, and I'll let you mow my yard and clip my hedges and all that stuff.
How much does anybody have any information? How much should they pay the 12-year-olds to hawk? How much did they pay? I have no idea. I was not part of the hawker program.
They had to pay them, right?
What is it they had to pay them? I assume you just don't get a free runza and you go home. I don't think that was how this works.
Sorry, you were a volunteer. No one told you?
Yeah, you're going to need a little bit more than that. Deja's older brother Jacoby said that the hawker program gave kids a chance to enjoy the games. Interesting. Quote, tickets are expensive. I don't know if I'll be back here to watch a game again. And if I do, it'll be a while.
I just love the idea of a 13-year-old.
Now, hang on.
I'll vote with my wallet.
Now,
damn
listen,
it.
you're not you're supposed to be working,
Yeah.
right?
Jack Mitchell tells a story of like getting severely reprimanded for not hawking and just leaning up against a wall for hours and watching the game.
Jacoby added this. He really brings the heat, 17-year-old Jacoby.
I don't know if I'll be back.
He added that, I'm not if I put on this headset again. Being a hawker for the stadium was tied to his identity as a Nebraskan. Quote, win or loss, it's just fun to be a part of the tradition because that's one of the things that Nebraska is known for. It's
the Hawkers?
He said is football.
Oh, okay.
It's a part of the pride of the state. And he felt connected to it because of the hawking. What do we think, Josh?
This feels a lot like cashless Memorial Stadium, where for 48 hours it's going to be the biggest story in the history of the world, and then come game day, no one will remember that it happened.
Once again, there will because I saw people on the internet. They were like, "Oh my god, are you serious? They're not going to have the runs of people coming up and down the aisle." Yes, they'll just be 18.
Well, Midwest hand warmer. How will I get it?
You'll get it. They'll be coming to you. Don't worry. They could never in a million years support all those people going to the concession stands to get runs. They will have to have the hawkers still, but they will just be employees of Aramark, and they will be 18 years or older. And that's okay.
I would say it's better.
Now, to their point, there's not very many places where you can get a job if you're not 18 anymore. But you could mow Josh's lawn.
You can't. I'm legitimately serious. Prove to me you're a hawker. I have all the equipment. You just have to get to my house. I'll give you the mower. I'll give you the hedge trimmers. I'll give you the trimmer.
What are you offering in terms of a price?
If I said $50, would that
Whoa! That'd be they can't give them $50 for hawking. They got to be giving them less than $10 an hour.
Yeah.
I'd
like to pay my hawkers a living wage.
Okay, all right. So this is like this is big time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My neighbors will thank you.
All the 13-year-old hawkers who were hawking at Memorial Stadium and felt tied to the state because will you put on the game on the radio, or will you give them the ability to listen to the game while they're mowing your lawn?
Absolutely.
Okay. This is good. This seems like a good deal. There you go. That's what's happening in Memorial Stadium.
I'll even let them go get me a Runza. There's one 2 minutes from my house.
That's exciting. Maybe you could get them an extra one.
Yeah.
All right.
Get yourself something nice.
We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show.
Who's pitching tonight?
You Darvish, having a great year.
The Connor Happer Show.
I know about that guy.
On 1620 The Zone.
What a mess.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620, The Zone. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Somebody asked me earlier in the show how many miles I walked a day. Really not that much. It's looks like I'm looking at it, about 4 miles a day. I don't think that's that crazy.
Josh Peterson runs more than that.
Yeah. I talked to Creighton athletic trainer Curtis Self a lot this week, and he walked. He was basically doubling me up every day. Like if I was at 10,000 steps, he was like, "Yeah, it's child's play. I got 20,000." There's a lot of people who do a lot more than us, Josh.
Absolutely.
The radio.
We have an important job, but it is not the most important.
Well, it's not that it's not that anything
job.
is less. Right, exactly.
Not the most grueling.
Not the most physically demanding, but sometimes you get sick at the end, and that's what happens.
Those Tart boys?
Those guys, holy smokes.
They
Those
were
guys are
working a
working their butts off. It's the same guys every day, too. It's not like they have like 3 crews that come in. It's like the same 25 dudes on that grounds crew. By the way, John emails into the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, John.
Goodness. How much does Josh make? $50 to mow his lawn? $50. You're going to pay a kid $50 to mow your lawn.
I really need it done, and I really don't want to do it.
I think you could get away still with paying him $25.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe I should have started a little lower?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay, work my way up. Okay.
That's sort of where I'm at.
I mean, I'm telling you, it needs it.
Yeah. I want to talk about one more thing for the College World Series here before we get to Sam. So this year we had the explosion of another trend at the College World Series. And no, I'm not talking about rope hats, although, man, the rope hats are really cooking right now.
Great time to be a rope hat.
We are getting the bubble is about to burst on rope hats.
Definitely.
Poll question. Is the bubble about to burst on rope hats?
Okay.
After Game 7 of the NBA Finals last night, the championship hats had ropes on them. It's getting close to being over, I think. But I even got myself a rope hat at the College World Series, and guess what? I liked it.
I got 2.
But it's not the rope hat that I'd like to talk about. It's a little it's something different. We've seen this occasionally over the years, but there has been a rapid increase in this College World Series, and I assume this will be in the case going beyond this now, of players going out to the field with little jars, putting dirt in them after the games.
Oh.
How do we feel about the dirt jars, Josh?
I'm pro dirt jar.
You're okay with them taking the dirt?
You earned it.
Okay.
Take a piece.
Because I've had this thought at times. Like, this is the old... maybe I go on the field at Kauffman Stadium or something, and I consider it to be hallowed ground. Like, this is fantastic. I love it. I want to take a piece of it with me. And everybody looks at me kind of weird, but I don't really care. Because I take a piece of Kauffman Stadium with me right back home. And then what do I do with that pocket full of dirt? Or that jar full of dirt? Nothing.
Right.
It was all the. I think it started with Murray State. Murray State got a lot. There are many people taking videos of the people from Murray State grabbing the dirt off the field and putting it in little cups or jars and stuff like that. All the way to Coastal Carolina. Yesterday,
every team,
they got the jars. They must have went to the store and got little jars.
No, every team is issued.
They gave them jars?
Yes, I heard this on the radio during one of the games.
Who told you this? John Bishop?
John Bishop, probably.
Wow.
Every team is issued jar or jars. I'm not sure. It must be jars to collect dirt in. And it's supposed to be when you... I believe they said it's supposed to be when you win the College World Series, so you can take dirt, and everyone has just
then why does every
I'm
team
getting
get
my dirt?
Why does every team get jars?
Right. Why wouldn't you just wait till the finals and give the last two teams jars?
Right.
And then you're losing a lot less
Or
dirt.
the last team, you
Yeah.
get jars. Like you pass out the championship hats, and then you also give them jars.
Here's a jar.
Yeah.
That does make more sense, but maybe they don't actually care.
Kenneth says, I feel like kids have been taking dirt from the College World Series forever. I'm not sure why it got so much pub this year. I think it was because of Murray State. That'd be my guess. But it hasn't happened in a few years where I've seen, just from my short I haven't thought about this a lot, but for my short recollection, I can't remember it like this, where people went out there after every single game and started grabbing handfuls of dirt to put into the jars. And I'm not going to say that I'm anti putting the dirt in the jars, Josh.
I mean, it kind of sounds like you are.
I just am a little weirded out by it. Think about it.
A lot of people go pro in something other than sports. This is the pinnacle.
I know. And I love it's great. I think it's cool that Omaha is viewed, and the Chuck box is viewed as such hallowed ground, But I'm not sure about the jar of dirt, Josh.
Really?
I'm not sure. You have really what you need is in what you'll have for your lifetime to remember this: pictures. Take as many pictures as you want.
Kids love pictures.
Kids
all about
love
the
pictures.
selfies.
They're all
about
on Instagram and everything. You have the pictures. You have digital copies of the pictures. You can do whatever you want with them. Make Christmas cards literally for as long as you want. Frame it, blow it up, put it in your house. You could make a painting of a picture. There was a person who was doing a painting during the College World Series the other night.
That's what she
That
does.
was cool. They're going to put that in the stadium somewhere. The dirt, Josh, I don't know. I'm not sure about the dirt.
We got more dirt.
Yeah, we got plenty of dirt. It's not that they're taking the dirt that we need more dirt for. They have more dirt. It's just dirt.
I mean, I could jar up some dirt and tell you it was Chuck box dirt, and you wouldn't know the difference.
But I suppose maybe what makes it special is the fact that they collected this dirt themselves.
This was an experience that I had.
There's some people that were taking dirt from the mound, taking clay. I got a lot of dirt. I tell you what, I got a lot of clay on me yesterday because I was sitting right behind the track. It was just blowing up into my face the entire
my
game.
goodness, on TV.
I was caked in it. I felt like I had been sandblasted. Like, seriously, it was...
No.
I went upstairs and I took my hat and sunglasses off, and it looked like I had been, in the desert for a while.
Is this what people who go to the French Open look like at the end of the day?
Does the wind blow at the French Open?
I don't know.
Poll question.
Poll question.
Does the wind blow at the French Open? Because if so, that would be the case. Chris writes in.
Hi, Chris.
On Twitter, 100% on board with the dirt collecting. I do the same at dirt tracks that I go to. I make plaques with the dirt. And he sends us a picture of one with the work in progress. Here's one from I-80 Speedway. And there's a little track that's cut out where you can insert the dirt and pack the dirt into. Now, okay, that's cool. But I don't think these guys have dirt collections from other places. If you have a dirt collection, that's okay. If this is the only piece of your dirt collection, I don't know. I got questions. That's all. Question for the 402. Did LSU take any dirt? Or was it just all the losers? No, there were some LSU people taking the dirt too. But they can mix in their confetti with the dirt, which, by the way, did you see what happened when they blew off the confetti yesterday? It immediately just flung itself into outer space.
Oh, because it was so windy.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. That would have been a problem.
Yeah. It's going to be...
Maybe should have just...
It's going to be around...
confetti.
It's going to be around downtown Omaha for a long time. There's just going to be confetti just flying through the air. Somebody in Sioux City probably woke up this morning and was like, why did I get this confetti on my doorstep? Oh, that's from the College World Series.
They built Sioux City.
For the 402.
Hi, 402.
I used to work at the horse track at State Fair Park in Lincoln. On the last ever day of horse racing there, I grabbed a jar of dirt. That was 15 years ago. I have done nothing with that dirt.
Yeah, you're not going to do anything with it.
So I'm saying, but are you happy you have the dirt? Probably not.
You can put it in a box.
Really?
With
You
a
look at the
ball
dirt every
and-
once in a while and you're like, damn, I'm glad I got that dirt. No.
I mean, you earned the right to take some dirt.
You could take the dirt, I guess, but I don't know what you're going to do with it.
You need a real crafty, scrapbooky team mom to make everybody like a little shadow box.
I think they do. I think in the tents out there they sell some dirt.
Oh yeah.
Kenneth writes in.
Hi, Kenneth.
So I know they do this. Yeah, when Tampa won the Cup in 2020, they definitely got me with their melted ice from the arena filled Stanley Cup. Kenneth said he paid $50.
Paid $50 for a vial of water.
A vial of water
that was definitely
totally,
the ice.
Totally ice. Yeah. Interesting. The sports memorabilia game is just really taking off.
It really is.
You can get a tiny cutout of a football and turn it into anything you want.
Kenneth adds, all caps, in the shape of a Stanley Cup with a cool gift box.
Well, okay. That changes things a little bit.
A little bit.
The vial is the shape of a Stanley Cup.
The presentation is important if I'm buying
what
a
are we talking
vial
about?
of water.
In terms of vial, like, are we talking about like this? How big? How big?
I've seen these things before. They're not gigantic.
Questionable. Maybe they should make the jars of dirt that they give the jars that aren't full of dirt that they will later fill with dirt. Maybe they should make the jars in the shape of a baseball or something. Or a national championship trophy.
Yeah. In WWE, they cut up the mat all the time, turn it into plaques. Like, hey, John Cena stood on this mat at WrestleMania. You want it? $75.
That's a lot of money to stand on that mat.
Yeah.
Or to get that mat that he stood on.
Yeah.
Once. Yeah. All right. We'll be back. 1 o'clock hour is coming up. We'll ask Sam what he thinks about the recent trend of the dirt. And plenty more coming up on 1620 The Zone.
The brutally hot, humid days are coming, so now's the perfect time to call the pool pros, Patera, for the perfect pool this summer. Patera's professional design team will plan and install the perfect pool that your family will enjoy this
Sam McKewon is the newsman. Sam McKewon, Omaha World Herald. On the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
That is right. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, hello. How are you?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Good. How'd you enjoy the series this year?
The totality of it, I really thought it was a lot of fun. I think it had a little bit of everything. So like, I was the history aspect of it, the no hitter, the insane finish to Arkansas LSU Part 2, I thought was something that a lot of people aren't going to forget, just because of the way that ball bounced. And then, of course, you had the game yesterday. The first game of the title series was memorable, and then you had the ejection yesterday. So, this is one of those CWSs that provided 4 memories that I don't think people are going to forget anytime soon. So on that front, it was pretty amazing. Not a lot of homers, not a lot of offense. Wind blew in for most of the series, and so you didn't necessarily have a fireworks game or anything like that. But it was very memorable on a lot of fronts, and the winner of LSU Arkansas won the College World Series. I think if you had said that to 20 people before the series or 100 people, I think 85 of them would have said, yeah, whoever wins the first LSU Arkansas game is going to win the CWS, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and not necessarily surprising to see it end up that way. Although we couldn't finish it off without a little bit of controversy yesterday. It's kind of a shame because we were talking about this too, as with in Game 7 of the finals, there was Tyrese Halliburton's injury, which sort of kind of sucked the air out of the entire thing, and then it becomes about a different thing after the Thunder win a championship. It was almost the same thing in the College World Series game yesterday, where all that stuff happened in the first inning with Kevin Stahl getting tossed out of the game, and LSU won. It's still a celebration. That should be the story, but ultimately the people are going to talk about probably the controversy that happened during the game.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think the media is going to talk more about that for years to come than the fans. I think most fans probably tuned in and was like, yeah, that was kind of BS, but LSU was going to win anyway. Like, I think that was kind of probably the vibe from fans. I think media get really worked up about that. And they, I can't keep track of all of the unwritten rules of when you're supposed to apply the letter of the law in officiating and umpiring and when you're not. But apparently, what Angel Campos did was not what he was supposed to do. And I'm a little torn on it, to be honest with you. I think if he hadn't thrown him out, I think 30 or 45 seconds later he might have.
Yeah,
if
sure.
that makes sense. I just don't think that Kevin Schnall, I think he's trying really hard to fight for his team. And I think in that moment, when you're ready to rock and roll and start saying things like "for what" and you've missed 3 pitches in the first inning, I think it's fair to say you're on edge. And I think he probably went into Sunday's game ready for a tussle verbally, and he went right away. So I don't know. Okay, he doesn't throw him out then, but I think Schnall would have spent a good 30 to 45 to 60 seconds on the field yelling until it got right up to the line. And so I don't know how it would have turned out otherwise. I think he was itching for an argument and got it. And then I thought his comments after the game were underlined quite well where his mindset was. I mean, I think he was, and that happens sometimes, obviously they had to play great baseball to win on Sunday against another good pitcher and they didn't quite have it. And so, I wonder if in 10 years time, he'll look back on that situation differently and say, you know, I wish I had done this or this a little differently in that moment versus the decisions that I made. Maybe not. Maybe he'd say, yeah, I'd do it exactly the same way this every time, but maybe he'll look at it differently.
Sam, we were talking about this a little bit earlier to transition over to Nebraska football a little bit here. Matt Rhule has clearly taken it upon himself to be the very outward facing face of the Nebraska football program. I think at this point, he's kind of everywhere, and he shows up in every, whether it's, you know, sitting on top of some sort of bovine creature in the weight room or at the College World Series or whatever it might be. Like when you see this stuff, do you feel like it's kind of purposeful from him to be out there and always, you know, trying to promote the program the way he wants to?
Yes, I do. And again, I think that's more for the media than it is for the rank and file fan that's not on Twitter or Instagram. Yes, I think it's very purposeful. I think it's designed to make sure that the people who cover not only this team but college football in general keep Nebraska in mind as they kind of go through the off season. And it's also for the recruits. Like, the recruits love the idea of a head coach being that down to earth and that much of a normal guy. Like, he's normal in a way that, like, seems authentic versus, like, as an example, Brian Kelly doing a dance in a video.
Yeah.
You know, as people have made fun of that. Matt Rhule's able to kind of pull that off. And maybe it's because he's a little younger than Brian Kelly by like 10 or 15 years, but like, Rhule just seems like that guy. And he is that guy. I mean, we know that he's just sort of a regular guy that likes to have fun and happens to be the CEO of a football program, and he knows how to switch the toggle on and off. He knows when to go, you know, into serious business mode. But I think he understands that recruiting today is about making memories with players in the short time that you have with them, and you've got to be a little outside the box. And so he understands that. I think it's appealing to the people who cover the sport. And I think it's also appealing to the recruits. So I think he's got the attention of the people he wants to have the attention of, and we'll see how it bears out. You know, maybe they're gonna get on a run here today with a couple of announcements, and then maybe they'll get 3 or 4 more. Connor, you never know.
How much do you think he enjoys being it feels like he's really, you know, grabbed that part of it. How much do you feel like he enjoys being the very, very front-facing, you know, face of the program?
Well, I think that's probably something that I would love to hear him expand on. And my sense is that it's a little bit of both. You know, like, it's a little bit of, you know what, if I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to work as hard as I do, I'm going to try to have fun when I can. And so, like, I think there's some of that in there. Like, you know what, we're going to bring a bowl over here, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pose with it. And by God, if I'm going to do this thing, I'm not going to be miserable. And then I'm sure there's a part of him that's like, you know, there's days when he probably just wants to be a ball coach and probably doesn't want to have to do those things. So, like, you know, I'm sure it's a little bit of both. In the NFL, you don't do any of that. About the only coach I can think of in the NFL that's doing is quirky like that is the Dolphins coach, McDaniel.
Yeah.
But, you know, nobody else really is. And so, like, you know, I think he wanted to give the NFL a try because that's all football. And I think it's possible that when Rhule went there and now they spent a couple of years there, he's like, you know what, I still got to be a part of the college game because it's a little bit more joy down there and it's not all business. So he chose to re-enter the college sport. And so I'm guessing he enjoys it to some degree, while also, you know, probably looking forward to the day when he's got Ohio State's talent, you know, and Nebraska's getting 5 stars all over the place, and maybe you don't have to do the extra thing. Jim Harbaugh stopped doing that, right? Like, they got to the point where when Jim Harbaugh walked into a room, he didn't have to climb a tree or anything.
That's true, yeah.
We're Michigan, and would you like to come play for us? I'm sure Nebraska wants to get to the point where its best calling card is 10 wins a year, not, you know, the coach is a cool dude.
A lot of coaches, I mean, because we've seen it go the other way, you know, where you're in your second or third year or whatever it might be, and they pour themselves further into the football, right? Like they they talk about how, their enjoyment, like I hear coaches talk about those all the time, Sam. They say like, oh, well, part of the reason I got into this is because I really like coaching football and I want to be like, if I had it my way, I'd be in there doing the practice and teaching fundamentals and technique stuff on a daily basis. But that's not what we hear from Rhule, which I find fascinating. It's just a little bit, it feels like it's a little bit different.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I think he's a really good fit for Nebraska because Nebraska needed somebody to come in and kind of straddle both universes a little bit and be happy about being here and promote Nebraska in a way that was, there's so many, like there's qualities about Bo Pelini that were very positive for Nebraska, right? There was some positive things about the way that he ran things here, but he was such a miser and a grump when it came to this portion of it.
Yeah.
Like he hated
working
too hard in recruiting. Like he could have fun, and he did with his players, but this is the part he hated. And if only he had not been like that and been like, oh, this sucks. Like, and Rhule doesn't always love it, but he doesn't come off with that sort of attitude. And I think, and then in other ways, Rhule's just way ahead of where Scott for us. Scott obviously didn't enjoy these things, and Riley kind of did, but Riley didn't always have the level of control and discipline that Rhule does. So, I think he's probably the best fit Nebraska's had in a long time for this stuff.
Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald is with us. You wrote today about the kind of total picture. You talked about a little bit in the Directors Cup standings and how you get some of the big men's sports to kind of catch up with some of the Olympic sports, which have been going along pretty good. And then you wrote about some of the years or academic years in which Nebraska's had recently. Does it feel like this one that is just finishing up now is, like where does this go? It's been a pretty solid year when you put it all together, I guess, excluding the football, men's basketball picture from that context.
Yeah, it's been a pretty solid year. I think you can look back and see a lot of cool memories. Obviously, the volleyball team ended up a little short of where it wanted to be, but wrestling did a great job, and softball had an incredible year. Baseball created a memory in Omaha that people won't forget. I always think winning conference tournaments is a huge deal.
Yeah,
and anytime you can do it, it creates a memory that people don't forget, and so they'll come back 20 years from now and go, remember when we did that in 24 and 25 and how that felt? They'll be like, yeah, man, that was great. So, like, those are big deals. I mean, football program was better than it was the year before. And if the weather had been better at the Pinstripe Bowl, I think you would see fans remembering that the way that the players do. The players will remember that game for a very, very long time. It was a messy day. It was a yucky day. But it was their kind of day. Like they celebrated on the field in a very honest way, and I think it was a good memory for football. Men's basketball, it had its own memory, right? It won the crown. So like there was a little bit of everything to this season, and I think you saw the athletic department take a step forward. I think they got an athletic director who really gets a lot of the pieces of managing an athletic department and dealing with coaches and all that stuff. He knows it. I think he can operate with the big boosters, and I think he's able to operate with the coaches. Like he's got a good breadth of knowledge, and you see how Dannon handled the Cook, Busboom, Kelly transition about as well as anybody could. I was very impressed by the way that he handled all that.
Yeah, that seemed to go pretty seamlessly as they are regrouping for this coming year as well. All right, Sam, we'll let you go. Good to see you down at the College World Series as always, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care, man.
Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. He's got a bunch of stuff up right now. The athletic department discussion, then talking a little bit about recruiting as well. You can find that at omaha.com. Shams Charania.
Shamsbaum?
Well, it was about an hour ago. He said that it's very interesting. Tyrese Halliburton, he sustained a torn right Achilles tendon.
Yeah, I didn't need him to tell me that. We know what that looks like.
Okay. Yeah, we're our eyes are visually trained on this stuff now. We could tell when a guy popped his Achilles. It's like, oh, yep, that's a year. Doesn't make it any less sad to watch, but
it was so sad to see him greeting those guys after the game.
Oh, I know. How about TJ McConnell's, was that his mom in the tunnel? She
Yeah.
was like shooing
Stop
the
recording.
camera away. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. Come on. So what? You're hugging your mom.
Yeah.
Or if you're a mom, you're hugging your son on TV.
Totally normal.
In the tunnel, which is like kind of a public place.
Right.
You know, it's not like they're in the locker room.
Greet your boy in the locker room. If
Right.
You
Yeah.
want to
If you really want to be private, then you just, there's places to go. Not in the tunnel, like steps off of the court. Weird job by TJ McConnell's mom. Richard Deitch just tweeted this about the NBA Finals.
Hey, Richie.
He says, I'm hearing that Game 7 of the NBA Finals topped 16 million viewers. We should know the exact number from ESPN in a couple hours. That would be a massive viewership win for NBA, ABC, ESPN, given the brutal viewership numbers leading up to Game 7. Hey, I don't care who's playing in Game 7. People are watching Game 7.
Definitely.
That's pretty much the story of that. All right, we'll come back. K Ford has a chart that
K Ford.
I'd like to show you all. Yeah, that's right. Analytics, football. We've been very football heavy today, Josh. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Have you heard the news that this is a mega deals week on 1620 The Zone? A different half off deal every day.
Every day?
Every day. Today's deal is for the Omaha Children's Museum.
That's a good museum.
Josh can speak to that personally.
I've been there many times.
Is it great for children?
Oh, the best.
Well, you could get a family admission pass to Omaha Children's Museum, good for 4 admissions, 50% off, a $64 value for just $32. That's 50% off, Josh.
Always looking for something to do in the summer with the kids.
The family pass admits up to 4 people over the age of 2. Anyone under the age of 2 is free. It does not count toward the pass. Must bring ID and proof of purchase. This deal must be picked up at the radio station Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you win, get the deal now. Or if you get the deal now, 1620thezone.com.
Wow.
The Omaha Children's Museum. I have a guess that I'll be there soon. Within the next several months or so.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. Coming up. All right, let's go to the phones. This is the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline, where we find Bad Takes Doug. Hello, Doug.
Hey, Connor. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey, Josh. Hey, I just want to say, I thought your radio calls were fantastic. I listen to most of the games on the radio, and I really prefer that. I mean, being there is great too, but you guys the 1620 the Zone team, I think you guys are like Broadcaster University or something. You guys do a great job. So well
that's done. It. That's a really good take.
Yeah.
But I do have one other. Thank you. I do have one other thing. I think the national guy, calls you Scotty, like inning 7 of the game yesterday. You made some report from maybe the field or the pitcher's zone or whatever. He goes, "Thanks, Scotty."
Nice. No, I don't know. Maybe, that's not a take. That's just maybe you heard something wrong.
Okay. But anyway, you guys did great. I mean, literally, like the people who come out of Omaha out of 1620 the Zone and go on to like huge broadcaster deals. So
it's happened many times, Doug. Thank you for noticing. That's Bad Takes Doug chiming in with an excellent opinion.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad take at all.
No.
Saw much scuttlebutt over other broadcasters for other companies, maybe not knowing the players the way that they should, maybe focused with, I don't know, Sunday night professional games instead of the here and now.
Yeah, Ohtani. Have you heard about Ohtani?
I've heard of Ohtani, yes.
You can't get that guy's name wrong. He's Ohtani. You know what they should do?
Let Connor do all the games?
No, this is the idea. They should move Sunday Night Baseball to Omaha. Just do whatever game that ends up on Sunday night.
In Omaha.
And
play during the day.
Just bring the whole... No. Move Sunday Night Baseball to Omaha.
And play the College World Series games.
Play the college... No. There is no Major League game. There's no Major League Sunday Night Baseball game that week.
Oh.
It's the College World Series game.
Yeah, do that.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Instead of the 95th time it's Red Sox, Yankees, or Dodgers, and whoever the hell they're playing,
Mats.
We have Oklahoma State and TCU.
What a game that would be.
What a great game. Big 12. And it gets the full-on Sunday Night Baseball treatment.
Yeah.
I thought those guys...
That'd be great.
For the record, I think those guys mostly do a really good job on ESPN. They know what they're doing.
KP's great.
They know what they're talking about. KP, GOAT. Saw KP yesterday after the game. He was, the bats that they have on their setup there.
Yeah, the tanks.
Looked like they were stealing them out of the
Oh, my goodness.
Maybe they were transporting them to the truck or something like that.
Back to their rightful owners.
It really looked a little questionable. They had piles and piles full of the bats and gloves and things of that nature. I'm like, I don't know where you guys are going, but you go wherever you're getting to.
Now, Andy makes a great point on the YouTube stream.
Hi, Andy.
I thought ESPN won't have MLB anymore after this season. That's correct.
Is that 0 MLB games? No Sunday Night Baseball?
Right. So
it's hard for me to get straight the TV packages.
Maybe it could get a better presentation on that Sunday night.
Maybe they'll do more college baseball games next year.
Well, I don't know about that.
Maybe if they're going to pour everything into the. I mean, I tell you what though, the production of the College World Series over the years, I mean, it's gone up 1 billion times.
That
it is a sharp production.
That spider cam or whatever it's called.
That it's just a sky cam.
Yeah.
Incredible. They added in the drone a couple of years ago. The sky cam that they had. So the end of the sky cam is tied to a thing on the blat.
Every time they did that, I was like, wow.
And then they zipped it to the other side, like the third base side of the chuck box upstairs. I zipped it over there. I was wondering what happened to the sky cam when it rained, which it did on whatever night that was.
Only one time.
Only one time. People forget. And they just zipped it up to the other side, took it down, or covered it up, and that was what happened. But it's fantastic. It really shows it. I mean, so we got an inside look at the replay facility bunker underneath a couple of times. There was one time that I went in there by myself, and then there was another time where Chris really, really wanted to go back, so I went with him. And so we
always go where Chris goes.
Yeah,
it will benefit you.
Well, Chris, yeah. So I went in there, and they kind of explained the whole thing, and it's real. And one of the things that they really drove home was they have 28 cameras. They're all ESPN's cameras that they use for replay. 28 cameras in the ballpark, but 4 of them are like super duper slow mo, like 300. I don't know what 300 frames a second or something like that. Super duper slow mo, high speed, like you could catch anything in slow motion. So they catch everything, everything in the ballpark. And so for replay purposes, one of the points that they drove home was it's going to be basically impossible for a call to stand in this event. It will be either overturned or confirmed pretty much every single time, unless it's like a direct tie, like, because we talk about it when we do games for, when we do games for Creighton in the spring. And it's like, boy, I just don't know if they're going to have enough to overturn that. How many times do you hear that in sports?
Every time there's a replay.
Boy, I just don't know if they're going to have enough to overturn it. They have enough. They have enough in at the College World Series because of what they've done with the cameras and what ESPN has put into it. They'll have enough. They'll have enough to confirm it or overturn it pretty much every single time because they have such great looks at everything. So yeah, they've put a lot of work into that thing. So shout out to our friends over at ESPN. Pat on the back from ESPN.
Are we doomed to live a life of constant hit by pitch reviews?
So
is there a way to tighten that thing up?
So I asked when we went in there the other day, I asked specifically about, or this is, I guess, yesterday, I asked specifically about that hit by pitch in the first game of the championship series. And they were like, yeah, man, it's pretty cut and dry. Like, look, he ducked his elbow down into it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't say this to them, but my theory on it is this. If in the case that they have at the College World Series, where I just explained it, they have so many cameras and the slow-mo and all this stuff, I think, in my opinion, that could work as a detriment to you in that specific situation. Because I think that when you slow it down to super slow-mo, and I've said this before, you can make yourself see whatever you want.
Yeah.
So much so that a guy ducking and then eventually rolling with it, right? Coastal Carolina talked about, they got hit by a record number of pitches this year, 180 whatever pitches that they got hit by this year. There's kind of an art to it, right? It's kind of rolling with it. So it's how in other words, it's how it's presented, right? You can't duck your elbow down into it. You're going to get popped for that. They'll call you on that immediately. But when you have the ability to slow it down into super duper slow motion, everything is going to look like they ducked their elbow into it because either A, in one case, there was a case earlier in the week where a guy was getting his swing going.
Right.
He was engaging.
Yeah.
Right. He was engaged. So he pulled his front elbow forward.
Mm-hmm.
He was engaging. Right. And the other one was he was eventually kind of rolling with it and going away from it, but the elbow comes down. It's kind of like just a natural twitch reaction. Right. So I think I don't know if there needs to be clarification on it as much. Obviously, it's a thing that in the sport that has been weaponized a little bit here.
Like
but I don't know.
If that ball's in the batter's box, you're out.
I really don't know what you could do. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what you could do. Guys are going to be on top of the plate. It's unfortunate because there were 2 times at least during the College World Series this year where we're talking about 3-2 counts.
Yeah.
And it goes from ball 4 or hit by pitch to out.
You're out.
It's a strikeout. That happened twice in the College World Series. They're not out automatically every time. They just happen to be out because that happened to be the 3rd strike in both of those cases. So I don't know what they can do. I mean, do you just tell them you can't wear elbow guards anymore? I don't know. Would that be a deterrent for dudes to not be trying to get hit in the box? Because like I said, they've weaponized it a little bit.
We're out here splicing film, judging intent. Well, did you try and get out of the way enough, or did you lean in? Yeah,
it's really hard. It's really hard. Also, while we're talking about things that could change in college baseball, remind me to ask John Bishop about this when he gets in, because he's had some opinions on this throughout the baseball season. Remember when he said, "Get back in the dugout, Billy"?
Langro's pitch. Swing and a miss. Go back to the bench, and you can talk about your strategy for the bottom of the 9th inning.
Okay, so why did that happen? Because they called an offensive timeout right before. These offensive timeouts,
that's so stupid.
It has to stop.
We know why they're actually there. It's not.
Why are they there? No. Why did we put it in the game where we could do this now? Why did we do this?
I guess I don't know why you would need an offensive timeout, but
why did we do this? I know they're trying to stall, and obviously it's been weaponized, and you're trying to break rhythm and momentum and stuff like that. I asked Jacob Morrison about it, Coastal Carolina starting pitcher yesterday. I asked him after his first start, because remember his first start. I can't remember. Oregon State. They were facing Oregon State, and Mitch Canham comes out and he calls a timeout, offensive timeout. He's rolling he is a boulder rolling down the hill at this point. He's crushing them. And they call an offensive timeout with 2 outs, maybe even 2 strikes. And he starts pacing around the mound he was stalking them. Come on, let's go. Let's get out of the offensive timeout. So I get it. I get what you're trying to do. I know what you're trying to do. We got to stop. I don't know why that exists in the game. I don't like it. And it could very easily be removed today. And nobody would care. The coaches who use them, the coaches who weaponize them, like Billy O'Connor, shout out, back in the dugout, Billy. He loves doing that stuff. It's just a game. They'll live without it because we have lived without it for decades.
You would just use a mound visit for it. I understand.
Pull a guy off to the side. What? We don't need to stop play. The umpire comes out in front of home plate and he starts marking stuff down on his little notebook card. And I'm we don't need to stop this. Especially if we're trying to put all these pace of play initiatives into the game.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So we can do without that right now. Just axe that sucker out.
Yeah.
And baseball's better. College baseball's better. All right, we'll be back. Whoa. We'll be back.
We'll be back.
The poll questions.
Poll questions.
We'll tell you what to watch.
Gonna tell you what to watch.
Next on the Zone.
Zone.
After further review, the host is deemed to be out of bounds. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620. The Zone.
go to the poll.
Let's go to the polls.
Let's go to the poll questions at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Let's see. Butt cakes. Yes or no?
This has got to be yes, right?
80% say yes. Although we did get a response from who's it? Yeah, our boy Declan.
What up, Declan?
As it was trending toward butt cakes are good, he was saying that the people who are voting yes on this are weird.
Whoa.
Oh, butt cakes are good to me.
Yeah.
What's a bigger accomplishment, bowling a 300 or winning the Pinstripe Bowl?
I'm sorry, it's bowling, right?
Yes. 74% said bowling the 300.
I feel better.
Do you love Gary Busey?
I do.
I guess I kind of do. Yes. 52% say no.
Oh,
they
come on.
do not love Gary Busey.
Open your hearts.
Do you wear shorts while riding a cow? No. No,
Bull.
you don't. 64% say no. Is the bubble about to burst on rope hats?
Sell your stock now.
52% say yes. And finally, does the wind blow at the French Open?
It has to.
It must. People must be getting clay in their eyes. Currently at exactly 50-50, Josh.
Ooh, okay.
It's tight. It's tight. Those are the polls. What are we watching tonight?
Well, now that the basketball and the hockey are over, for some reason the WNBA has no games today.
Great call by them again.
What a perfectly run league that is.
Always being in the right place at the right time, which is nowhere.
We have baseball on our TVs though. Mariners Twins 6:40 on FS1. Red Sox out west to take on the Angels at 8:40 on MLB Network. At that same time, the Nationals take on the Padres in your MLB TV free game of the day. Barbara Walters has a documentary on Hulu. It's called Tell Me Everything. It offers an intimate look at Walters' life, career, and the challenges she faced as a woman in a male-dominated industry.
I'm interested in Barbara Walters.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Jada De Laurentiis has a new cooking show on Amazon Prime. For those who are interested.
I don't know who that is.
Oh.
Jada?
Jada.
How do you spell that?
Giada.
And what De Laurentiis?
De Laurentiis.
Laurentiis. Oh, I've seen her before.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool.
Used to be a staple of the Food Network. She's gone on to her own thing on Amazon there.
Nice.
And finally tonight on AMC at 7 o'clock, I want everyone to watch Con Air tonight.
Whoa.
Take notes.
Whoa.
And let's get some Con Air to the Moon
Josh,
notes going for tomorrow.
I have movie news for you.
Oh?
It's been a while. So I don't even think I can't say that I've like officially seen this movie in full, I don't think, until Friday night. I had a moment, me and my wife sat down, we watched Ocean's 11.
Hello.
What a movie.
Great movie.
And I think we're going to watch Ocean's 12 this week.
That's less good.
What about 13?
Better than 12.
All right. We might get through all of them.
What about 8?
There's 8? Yeah. Ocean's 8?
Ocean's 8 is all women.
And that's after 13?
Yes.
Feels like bad counting on their part.
It does.
Okay. All right. I just thought you should know that. Mm-hmm. I watched Ocean's 11 this weekend.
Love that you told me this.
Thank you. That's it for us today. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, if you missed anything, you can find it all on our website, 1620thezone.com. Time for the crossover coming up next.